Hey, New York Liberty fans. This is our last podcast before All-Star Weekend. The New York Liberty do have a game tomorrow. But, I think it was a Jekyll and Hyde is probably the best way to describe it, Brian. I don't know. There was a lot going on, and we are definitely going to talk about it, including, is there a question that Sabrina Ionescu is tired of hearing? We'll get into that and more on today's episode of Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans.
Gotta get up.
Gotta get up.
Gotta get up.
Gotta get up.
Oh yeah.
New York.
Oh yeah.
New York.
Hey, women's basketball fans. Welcome to Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans brought to you by Black Rosie Media. I'm Erica L. Ayala.
And I'm Brian Florenson.
And we're your New York Liberty experts and co-hosts. We've covered the 2024 championship run and followed your favorite players all the way to the Paris Olympics.
Every episode, we bring you game recaps, the latest news and transactions, and exclusive interviews with Liberty players and coaches from the past, present, and future that you won't hear anywhere else.
We're building a community for fans who love this game as much as we do. So whether you're part of the Barclays faithful or tuning in from afar, we bring you closer to your
New York Liberty.
Oh yeah.
All right, Brian, I think we should start with a vibe check. So if you're joining us in the chat, let us know, how are you feeling about the New York Liberty? No, the chat first.
Oh.
I'm asking the chat, and then we'll get to you. Calm down, easy, calma, Brian. We gotta let the viewers in here. If we're meeting for the first time, Erica L. Ayala, founder of Black Rosie Media, alongside my co-host Brian Florenton. We are your dynamic duo here at Gotta Get Up. This is a podcast. While we do focus on the New York Liberty, we also hit on a lot of other topics. It's part of Black Rosie Media. We will not have our Seattle-based podcast, Tempestade being the Portuguese word for storm. Instead, we are actually going to be doing a Ask Me Anything. So Brian is going to be holding it down in New York, but Roberta and I, who is my co-host for Tempestade Talk, we will be in Chicago, and we want to get your burning questions. Roberta and I will have a chance to take a look at the WNBA Live, get a feel for Chicago. Chicago has hosted All-Star before, maybe not right after a very elongated CBA negotiation, so we'll see how that goes. But if you want to connect with us on that live stream, please do, and keep an eye out for us. Roberta and I will be in the house. If you see someone with Black Rosie Media swagger, come say hey, and you might get a chance to win some Black Rosie Media swag. So you got to know your WNBA history, though, if you want to earn a prize. So more on that on our social media handles. If you're not already following, make sure you follow at Black Rosie Media on all channels. We technically do have a Twitter, but that's the dark place, and it's just basically there so that we have a footprint, but we do not encourage activity over there. So find us on Blue Sky or on Threads or on Instagram. But honestly, the best way to connect with us is in our very own Slack channel or by subscribing to the newsletter. We are not beholden to the behemoth giants that go and mess up our social security and perhaps really hack into our contracts for student loans without forgiving them. If you want to be free of all of that, then join us on Slack and in the newsletter, because you'll hear directly from us. Just saying. But Brian, we have a lot to say. There's a lot to say about this New York Liberty. Now, here's the thing. They did get a win, an overtime win in Dallas. And as someone who, likes the sandpaper, you would think that I would be happy with this win. However, I have to say, not only am I pretty downtrodden and disappointed in the New York Liberty, I'm pretty sure I have made up my mind quite squarely about Chris DeMarco and his first season. How about you, Brian?
Oh, it's funny. I think because I was out last week, I was sort of catching up with everything and sort of seeing what the temperature is for a lot of people. I hear all the criticisms of Chris, and it all instinctively makes sense. And I'm like, oh, okay, this, it all makes sense. And I'm like, still, I'm like, you gotta like, I feel like my disposition is very, if you know me, I'm very ride out any storms you got. Like I know clients all the time. I'm like, dude, just like trust in me. We'll work through it. Like I feel like that's my constitution, and that's sort of like influencing how I think about a lot of things. So I've seen people, oh, do this. I'm like, just gotta write it out. See how it plays out. More time. Like because like my default is always more time. So I'm like, oh, okay. Like I hear all the things about it. A lot of them are like, okay, I can dance to that. But my brain is always like, okay, let's get a little bit more runway, a little bit more time, a little bit more sort of like there to see what we got. And then I'm like, oh, okay, that's the path, that's the direction. Okay. But I'm always like, let's let it build out a little bit more. I feel like that's just my early thought right now.
I love that for you.
For me,
I'm not there. The there that is here right now is that the worst case scenario for me in hiring a starter head coach, we have arrived. I have been very, very clear that I didn't want, quite honestly, any starter head coach, as in first-time head coach, especially first-time WNBA coach, and a coach that has no WNBA experience, told us in the introductory press conference that he picked up every book that existed on the New York Liberty, which was kind of wild because I'm like, how many of those can there even be to learn the team? And we're going to talk about the Dallas win, but the Indiana loss was a colossal, epic, inexcusable game. I just don't understand how that team lost that game.
I will clear out, and I'll move off the side. Then floor is yours.
I mean, well, thank you, but also it always is. And if we keeping it a buck, I'd be saying whatever I want to say. No, but here's my thing. You had a game where in the first quarter, the New York Liberty, they could have been in this one, they could have been in this one, and then they needed stops. And not only did we not see Betnijah Laney-Hamilton, but we also didn't see Rebecca Gardner. But you know who we did see, Brian? We saw Marine Fatou. We saw Raquel Carrera. 15 minutes for Fatou, and we'll talk about Marine in a little bit. Raquel Carrera, 7:52. We saw Anneli Meili for 13:38. We saw Hanju for 12:46. And Rebecca Allen for 17:48. The only person of those players that I named that had a positive plus minus is also the person that played the fewest minutes, and that was Raquel Carrera, a +1. Rebecca Allen, -20. Hanju, -20. Meili, -12. Fatou, -8. Now, in fairness, the only player in the starting lineup that was a positive plus minus was Marine Ionescu, a +1 with 12 points. Then you had Brianna Stewart, -17. Jonquel Jones, -4. Pauline Astier, -7. And Sabrina Ionescu at a -14. This was a stinker of a game. It was a stinker of a game, Brian. I just don't know how that's not clear. The game at halftime, at the half, 49-45. Would you like to take a gander as to who was leading at halftime, Brian?
I know the answer, but I'll let you keep cooking up. You're on fire right now.
49-45 lead Liberty. This team lost this game by a whopping score of, I don't even see, I'm so mad, I don't even know what was it? 108. There it is. To 88.
There you go.
108 to 88 after leading at halftime. The biggest lead for the Indiana Fever, 25 points. They absolutely dominated the second half. So you're leading a game at halftime, and two of your better defenders, that healthy defenders, see no action. How do you explain that, Brian?
You know, I've been thinking a lot about the rotation piece, and I know that's a fundamental criticism. And I think there are two. Well, I think there are a couple things to sort of like take in for the past week and change, because I noticed a while back that great point. We'll get to that later, Mike. And hello. One of the things I noticed, if we circle back to the Minnesota game the Saturday before, one of the big changes that they made was when they went to the big lineup, the player that came out was Beck Gardner. Beck had been in a bit of a slump recently, which I think explained why they went there. And then the Sunday in Toronto was with Anelli and Laney-Hamilton getting those minutes that usually go to Gardner. So I kind of got the sense that, oh, okay, Beck is sliding down in the rotation and you're going to move in a different direction here. But I think where the confusion comes in is that you're not really set in what you're really running out there every night. And I think that's where a lot of the confusion comes from, because I think if even accounting for absences and to Mike's comment about Leo not being here, you'd still like to have a solid 8 or 9 now. And it looks like they don't have that still. And a complicating factor is that the developmental players are currently in what seems to be a semblance of the rotation, but that's a time bomb because you only have 12 games available to play them before you either, I think the rule is you convert them or you let them go.
You wish them well.
Yeah, and the organization.
Wishing you the best, pray that you are blessed.
Yeah.
As Destiny's Child once said.
Ah, yes. And you have a situation where you like your dev players have given you good minutes when they've played, but it's one of those things where they're a part of the rotation, they're part of the team, they're doing all these things, but they're not really in the rotation because they're not in the actual, here's the 12 that are regularly expected. You don't need to do like a designation for Maureen Johannes or Sabrina, that kind of thing, because they're just on the roster. The dev players are a bit more complicated, and that I think you have to be very careful with that, because once you hit the number, you hit the number, and there's no exceptions. I believe even if they don't play, once they're active, the game counts regardless, I believe. After double check that. Okay.
It's so developmental players do not have to be activated for games. If they are activated, even if they play 0 minutes, that does count toward their 12 allotment. Now here's the thing that I will say, and I just thought of this, although I do think that most of my rant still stands, and I will explain as we continue on. To your point, maybe you want to see what you have with the developmental players. Maybe you are out of the goodness of your heart wanting to activate them and at least get those 12 games in. It's a really interesting time to do that when you are fighting for your life to keep a playoff spot. That to me is one of many instances that I will point out where I feel this roster is being mismanaged. If that's the case, you waited too long. Because Sabrina has been out, Leo has been not with the team, Satu has also been out. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you wanted to get them minutes, you could have done that earlier. Because if we go with what I have called the Sandy Brondello approach, in that you have to get your core starting 5, and actually there's a clip going around where Jonquel Jones is talking about why it not only went from the starting 5, but then 2-3 under Sandy. Let's make sure we know who we're going to. Even if you wanted to say, oh, okay, well, Erica, give them grace, or him specifically grace, because he needs to get the starting five shored up. We've talked about that. It was uncomfortable under Sandy Brondello, but it led to a championship. The issue that I have, and point number 2, where the decision making for me fails and it doesn't hold water, as Marissa Tomei said in the classic My Cousin Vinny, it doesn't hold water because, again, you have a situation where this team. I keep getting lost in my thoughts here because I'm just so frustrated. Like, I'm so freaking frustrated. So you want to get the development players involved. You could have done that earlier because you were hurt earlier. And then you're like, oh, maybe they're leaning on the starting five. That doesn't hold water because this team has not had what is to be their true starting five all healthy at the same time or available at the same time all season. So you're not doing that. You could have used those dev players earlier. So that's 2 points right there. And then this is what burns my grits about the Indiana game. You were leading at halftime until you couldn't get a stop. And 2 of your better defenders in the backcourt did not see the court, not only at that moment, but at all. What? And then your team is struggling, lost, chaotic, deflated. Call a time out. If your team can't control the pace of the game, that's what they are for. Call a timeout. Allow the team to settle down. Call a timeout. But no. That's not what we did, kind people. And I'm ranting anyways, so we're going to let Brian do what he's got to do off screen. And then it goes back to what I've been saying for a while. We've got Brian back now. Overworking Breanna Stewart for what? For what? To what end? What is the reason? I'm going to give you every meme, every snot. Like, I'm going to throw it all out. You're going to get Cardi B. You're going to get Maya Rudolph. You're going to get Marissa Tomei. Like, I'm trying to understand. And I'm fed up because I have been telling y'all, even since Walt Hopkins, how I feel about first-time head coaches. Well, first of all, coming to the New York Liberty, but specifically taking over a team with 2 league MVPs, 2 finals MVPs, 2 first-round draft picks. How many finals or semifinals between Stewie and JJ alone? And we could take away the ones from New York and they would still be at the top of active players among. What is happening? How do you give that roster to a man that admitted that he needed to read books in order to learn the WNBA? And I didn't want to be right because that means that this potentially, I guess technically they could pull a Las Vegas Aces and win 16. Are they going to run the table and win 16? There's nothing that we've seen this season that makes me feel like that's even possible. So I think I gave at least 4 points, Brian, and now I got to go off screen because this sun's coming through, this Tulsa heat. But I mean, Indiana, Cool. Go off, Caitlin Clark. I mean, Kelsey Mitchell, what'd she drop? 30. Was that the 33-point game or the 30-point game? I don't know. Those two, well, I guess technically Clark had the 45 against Seattle. Ooh, we gotta talk about that with Hobart. She had 17, I guess, then. 17 against New York. 62 points in a back-to-back for Caitlin Clark, who has back issues, contusions, busted ankles. And then, I mean, death taxes Kelsey Mitchell. She had 60. If Caitlin had 62, Mitchell had 63 in the back-to-back. Just those two games. So I'm not dogging on the Fever, and you were leading at halftime. How did you lose so epically bad? And then you might say, oh, isn't that the game where Marie Johannes, she got hot early, right? 12 points, I think it was early. And was it definitely the first half, but was it even the first quarter, right? I think it was the first quarter. And then, Marine, it seemed like she got hurt in that game. Baby! Marine Johannes didn't go down until later in that game. What am I missing, Brian? What am I missing?
As far as anything, I don't think I'm missing much of anything there. I think what really doomed them in the Indiana game was that they had the early 15. They had the early 15-4 lead, and then they had I believe a double-digit lead late heading into half. But then they let Indiana trickle their way back, and where they got themselves in trouble, and where they've consistently said this is the thing we have to avoid is the live ball turnovers. It was so many moments where I'll include Marine too, because Marine was a culprit along with everyone else.
Oh, very much so.
Those passes where I'm like, I kind of see where you're going, but it's so low percentage to even get it there when you're trying to find someone on a cut. And I'm like, you see it. Like I can see it from home, and your basketball mind is sharper than mine, and your vision is sharper than mine. But like fitting it in there, I'm like, no, I don't like it. It don't make sense. And then the turnover, the live ball turnovers, and even the post game, Stu was like, she had like by the numbers a good game, but she was like, man, I sucked because I had all these turnovers. And I'm like, you're kind of right, And I think what also did them in, and someone floated it in the comments earlier, a lot of ill-timed fouls. That's where I think, because I think for as much as there can be criticism of the head coach, which is fair, like I'm not going to dissuade anybody who feels that way. I think it also comes down to like don't foul jump shooters. Like it's hey, don't foul jump shooters when you're closing out. Make sure you're not in their landing space. Like make sure you're not doing these things. So I think the combination of the rotations are this is this, but also I think a lot needs to be said for the execution here is not where you want it to be on the court. Even putting aside for like the 5 that are selected to be out there, when you're out there, not to just throw a pass with no one there. Like these are things that you don't like. I could get it from my chair and be in that seat, and you would know to not do stuff like that. So I think it's a combination of the players. It's one of those things that Sandy would always tell players. And I remember I was talking to Beck Allen a couple years ago, where she'd always say, don't try to throw home run passes, but players love throwing home run passes because it's the thing is, I'm going to do this. And it's like,
right. It gets a reaction from the crowd, right? And it's like everyone's injected into my veins,
Yeah. And I think what also is a problem for the group is that sometimes the ball doesn't move enough, where it's like you run one action and it's that's not it. So everything is sort of like come together. Let me just grab this quick because my brain will forget.
Okay.
This team is not highly skilled.
This is Andrea Holt. Saying this team is not highly skilled, nor do they have a sense of urgency, grit, sandpaper. I agree. I've said this. I've been saying this, Brian. I see your face.
Yeah.
Where is the urgency? Where is the urgency? How, if you had urgency, how do you go from leading to down 25?
I think because I think I read urgency as I think it might just me. It might be me projecting slightly, where like I read urgency as like effort, and I'm like, they're trying. It's like it's not working. And I think that's
okay.
different.
Let's break this down.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's different.
urgency versus effort. Here's how I would describe it.
Mhm.
Here's how I would describe it. You know, you're driving a car, and you are, I don't know. I'm gonna just use round numbers here. Let's say you're 10 miles per hour under the speed limit for wherever you are, and it's green, straight shot, green all the way, but you're 10 under, which is fine. You know, nothing wrong with that. Maybe it's even safer. And green light, 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 and then by the time you get to the intersection, light turns red, so you stop, right? Same situation, but you have someone bleeding out in the back seat. Urgency.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna need you to get that extra 10 miles per hour.
Mm.
I'm gonna need you to make that light. I'm gonna need you to make that light. Okay? You might get stopped at the other one. Red lights are red lights. But you got to get to where you need to go. Urgency.
Okay. Now I'm picking up what you and Andrea are putting down. Because I think for the group, I think what also, and I think why my sort of like response, I would say is muted per se, is that I'm still looking at the calendar. I'm like, oh, okay, mid-July, FIBA break, late September, you come back, everything's set. So like, I think because and not to use the Vegas example that Lisa gave on America's leading network a few days ago, but I think it's just one of those, because I think also my brain is like, okay, we're at the midpoint of the year. Because I feel like, and this might be where I sort of like, in retrospect, I caught myself late, where last year we were like, oh, this isn't really where I want us to be. And then it's too late. And I was like, I think I'm not at that point yet with the group. There's still things that I think they need to be a lot better at. And just so I don't forget, I think they've been running too much zone defense, just as an example. It's one of those things where like,
that was bad against Dallas, and we'll talk about Dallas in a little bit. It was the mismatches were insane, and honestly, the Liberty are lucky that the Wings couldn't really get the ball to the mismatch more than they did.
Yeah, Dallas, and if we're being completely real, Dallas really should have won, especially when they got up big. 100%. Yeah, and then it's the thing where fans of certain players are like fussing at Enrique, and I'm like, no, she was like doing well, like, you know, but that is a Dallas Wings podcast. That's not our problem, like that. So
like, go check out Dorothy.
Yeah. Dorothy's a great person. Yeah,
that's it. Dorothy Gentry, great person to know if you want Dallas coverage.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like I'm stealing this from a friend of mine, Steve Jones Jr., but like they've been running so much zone, and it's one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, it works because Stewie's up top, Leo's there, length, timing, discipline, everything for days, and it works. But when you go to it over and over and over and over and over, it's almost like a pitcher who throws like 90, like who throws like 100. It's like, oh, okay, that's great. You throw 100 miles an hour, but if you throw 100 every pitch, eventually Juan Soto's gonna hit at 400.
Right. And if we're talking baseball, what do we know? Velocity, the speed that it comes in, it at least goes out as fast, if not faster. And if you don't have no stank on that thing, like you said, eventually they're going to catch up and you're going to get hit in the face.
Yeah. A lot of 3-run doubles in the gap.
That was sad. Poor Lugo.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah.
Like I almost wore a Mets hat today. I was like, we might as well. They're playing like the Mets make me feel. So
It always comes back to
comes back. All right, Damien, listen.
I can't quit the narcotic.
Damien, listen. I'm pretty far gone today, and you don't forfeit a season. What? I mean, I don't. I think I'm gonna assume here that you're being hyperbolic, and I know for sure you will tell me if you're not. So. But I'm just going to go ahead and give you the benefit of the doubt that this is hyperbolic because, you know, this example would be like, you finally get to the hospital and then the automatic door doesn't open in time, and so you just give up. Let's that being said, and I know there's another comment here. What does forfeiting even look like? I've literally not seen, at least not for anything beyond an extreme tragedy, someone forfeit an entire season because they're losing games. Losing is a part of being a professional.
I think I feel like I know what he means.
Like I the only thing I can think of, and honestly, at this point, I might want to see it. Maybe forfeit is code for flip the table and make a mid-season change. There's a few different ways you could do that, and I'm sure we'll talk about them. We've talked about a lot of them. Andrea had some comments here. Andrea, I'm not sure if this is your first podcast. Either way, glad to have you. Glad to have you. Ranting does not help. Assist in preparing the fans for what is reality, that the team is not that good. Now, I just want to. Oh, okay. Brian wants to take. I like that. Okay, come on now, Brian. Solo dolo. Let's go.
Firstly, hi, welcome. Glad you're here. I hope you stay. Hope you subscribe to the newsletter too. I would say ranting doesn't help. Is our thing. So like, yeah, we do what we do, but also assist in preparing the fans for what is reality. As I tell Erica all the time, they don't sign my checks, so I can't prepare the fans for that kind of thing. It's very much like oh, what are we gonna do? No, not me. Because they do not sign my checks. So that's the one thing. And a team that is not that good, I still, even within the bad basketball they've been playing for the past week and the past couple weeks, I'd say I still think the skeleton of a really good team is still within the system here. And I think it's one of those, I don't want to say wait till people come back, but because I think even now there's enough foundation to be a good team. Like they didn't have, like, they missed Satu for the second half of the game in Las Vegas, in the game that Asia played, and they boat raced Las Vegas, and
they did. That was gutted for Satu.
Yeah, and that night Asia had at that point her worst game of the season, and it's like, oh, this group did that.
There's a there there.
Yeah, it's a there, and it's a foundation there. It's a foundation that's there, and it's one of those things where you have to, and this is where getting things right when it comes to putting rotation together matters immensely, because you can slot someone up a role. And I'll use Beck Gardner as a brief example here. The criticism of Sandy last year was that she didn't play Beck enough until it was too late. Like, people would come in our comments and being like, oh, it'd be like July. Why is Beck Gardner not playing? We're like, I mean, I would play her too, I feel like that was our consistent theme last year. And then by the end, when she finally got in rotation, it's like, oh, you see what Beck did? And then it's because you got to Beck late, now you're burning her a lot of minutes. The effect and impact isn't what it would have been if it was just a steady drum beat throughout the year, as compared to, it's almost like the last minute, I'm gonna like fill in every answer on this paper because by the end of the study I'm just guessing. So that's what happened last year. And I think this year for Chris and what he's doing, I feel like it's a situation where, and I think we'll probably get this more in the next quarter, it's a thing where I feel like Beck G had been playing too much, because I'm like, I think for as good as Beck is, I'm like, I'd rather you not start for my team, because I think because I think the bit for this team is, and it was, I think I said it back in May, I feel it now, I'll feel it in October. This team is at its best when it's long. When it's long, it's got size, it's got that deployable size. I think that's where they're at their best. Okay, tell me where you think I'm wrong.
You're right in theory. And that's honestly, to me, the problem with this New York Liberty squad is that we have not moved from hypothetical to realistic.
Bring me to reality.
We talked about this. You know how I felt about Han. Great human. talented basketball player, not right for New York. I've said this for years. So that's also why Andrea, I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it, so apologies in advance. Tall, long, not gonna win us games. I mean, I have not been impressed with Han, especially in the last handful of games. Getting out rebounded by backcourt players on the opposition.
Yeah,
Getting tied up by backcourt players, getting stripped completely by backcourt players.
That's where the Minnesota game.
You know, like if I were Liz Cambage, I might say something about that. Something about where your behind belongs and a weight room. If you know, you know. Talk about WNBA 30 history. Maybe more lore, but either way.
Boy, Liz Cambage comment can go 10 million ways, and about
so
9
many different ways.
Of them I probably cannot repeat on air in public.
No. And you know, anyway. But also not long in the right way. I have not been impressed with Raquel Carrera's minutes. I'm not completely convinced that I'll say it this way. I can see a world in which the minutes that Raquel Carrera has been getting are incongruent. Okay, thank you. I was like, why did it sound? It sounded wrong as it was coming up. They don't align. Or I'm just using a different word. Thesaurus. I used to read this thesaurus growing up. Incongruent. That's what I was trying. It sounded weird. You know how something, you know the word and then it just sounds weird coming. Anyway, what the minutes she's been getting do not align with a realistic expectation of more than we're getting from Raquel Carrera. What do I mean by that? Join the team late. Again, we mentioned if you wanted to experiment, there were plenty of starters who were out of the lineup, but even when Raquel Carrera joined the team, that didn't happen right away. Okay. Reconditioning, whatever, learning the playbook, whatever. Okay, cool, tight. Then you start giving Raquel Carrera minutes when the 8-game winning streak is on the back end and is effectively over. And so now you need to win games in order to stay in the top 8, assuming that's what you want to do. I don't know why it wouldn't be, but hey, assuming you want to stay in the top 8, you're giving Raquel Carrera more minutes than people who know how to play what I honestly probably need to trademark at this point. She does not know how to play hard minutes in the WNBA. Decision-making, pressure, having the urgency to win 50-50 balls, clock control, or even awareness. Those are things that you have to learn. And so it's a catch-22, right? You have to play in WNBA games and play in those moments to have the confidence and the execution to be successful in those moments. But to be successful in those moments, you have to have time. And she didn't have time to learn when the games were lower stakes. And so now what do? Do you put someone in the game to get them those hard minutes when the game is on the line? Or do you wait? And maybe what I'm really saying here is I very clearly want to ride the veterans, not until the wheels fall off, like we're going to see with Stewart, unfortunately, is how I feel. Like, arguably, you could say we saw with Betnijah Laney-Hamilton, not a DeMarco issue, but that goes to, an organizational thing. And there are people, not the coaching staff, but there are other people that are still with the organization. And we're seeing some of the same things be the folly, if you will. And we'll talk about that as well. So that's difficult. And I think that's why Chris DeMarco justified after Indiana and after the Commissioner's Cup and after, like, I could go on and on and on and on and on here, has been justifying saying you can't play everybody. Someone asked, did you see that? I was in that press conference. I think, Brian, you were there too.
Oh, yeah.
When he said you can't play everybody, I found that so dismissive. That's the same press conference where Brianna Stewart and Jonquel Jones, but specifically Brianna Stewart, took responsibility. And I love that Stewie did that, and I hated that she did that, because if you are watching these games and you think Brianna Stewart is the problem, you can't blame nobody but you. That's Janet Jackson. Start with the man or woman in the mirror, or person. Start with the human in the mirror. That's Michael Jackson. Brianna Stewart isn't the problem. Does she make mistakes? Of course. Missed free throws, blown bunnies, turnovers, which is what she talked about. And so, yes, I like that she talked about that. And are you kidding me? The people taking responsibility for the loss are the same people that are almost solely responsible for the win? But the coach can be like, you can't play everybody. Am I right? What? But you know what? Why am I ranting, Brian? They just got to win, right? So everything's good. I just want to go back to Andrea, because we did talk about this. Remember, the 8-game winning streak started with back-to-back wins against who? Bing, bing, bing. The Phoenix Mercury. We talked after and in between those games and said, love the win, hate how we got it. Another win, same problems. Lucky we got the win. Bad team this year. We've been talking about a lot of the same things, and they're not getting fixed. But let's go to Dallas. Because you know what? Offensive rebounds, Brian. Was it 17? Am I remembering correctly?
They did a counter to what they've been doing for the past couple weeks. They were actually 100%. Quite good.
It was a 180. I was prepared to be impressed. I was prepared to have to come on this here live stream and eat crow. Mea culpa. Lo siento. Perdóname. I was ready to apologize. But it's not just one thing. I loved that they did better and started early when it came to getting offensive rebounds. I think one of the first sequences, Brian, they got at least 2 or 3 offensive rebounds. Loved to see that. Loved to see it. And losing a lead happened again. Turnovers happened again. A lack of urgency happened again. Hanju not having much of a paint presence happened again. Silly fouls, aka dead ball, right? You talked about that earlier. That was a problem.
Many of them.
We talked about that when they played Phoenix and won. And so we're going to talk about it when they narrowly, and for some people, controversially, win in overtime against Dallas. But you know what? I've been screaming, hooting, and hollering. Let's take a little break, or Brian, but mostly I. We'll take a little bit of a break. I want you to hear from Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and I almost forgot this man's name. Sorry to this man. Is DeMarco. We're going to hear from them post-game. This is after Dallas. And you'll notice something in the cut, as in the video edit. If you're watching even on the replay, keep a keen eye on the video cut. And we're going to talk about it on the other side of this video. It's about 1:30.
Oh, quick.
From what was roughly 10 minutes of a post-game press conference.
I was dropping dimes. Oh my God.
What you said?
2 minutes.
I was dropping dimes. Oh my God.
My shot felt good. The basketball gods were just not in my favor. They were like rolling in and out. So I just continue to stick with it. Teammates continue to pour into me. Chris continue to put me in good spots. And I knew when there was 5 minutes left in overtime, like when there's a new 5, it was kind of like a chance to reset, continue to go, continue to believe the next one's in, and it's kind of the shooter's mentality you have to have.
But I would say like this is obviously a success just because the way that we continue to stay at it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, obviously we had like this has to be a season low in turnovers, but we were really conscious of what we were trying to do offensively and defensively, and just like really locking in on the game plan and playing the way that we know that we can. And now it needs to carry over into the next game, and then we have the All-Star break to like settle things for a little bit.
And Chris, for you, just wanted some clarification on why was the decision made not to play Betnijah the second night in a row with a number of other players out tonight?
Yeah, we have a lot of depth on this team, and roles change game to game. And I'm really proud of this team and the way we fought tonight. And the problem with having so many good players, including Fotuk was talked about earlier, is that there's only so many minutes. And again, it's just the depth that we have, and we have confidence in everybody, and it showed tonight when we came together and pulled out the win.
Jeff?
Thank you.
I'm going to talk to the chat first, Brian, and then you and I can break it down. What did y'all notice? What did y'all notice there? Brian, this was from the post game yesterday. Now, while it's not the direct quote of "you can't play everybody," that was Indiana. It was pretty close. It was pretty close. We did hear from Chris DeMarco that he is prioritizing Fatuk's minutes. It's a choice. I understand it, and we talked about this 2 or 3 shows ago. Someone was asking, when will we see more Raquel Carrera? When will we see more Marine F? And I said, I don't envy the coaching staff trying to figure that out. That's what we said a few weeks ago. That was before Satu got re-injured. I'm pretty sure, or at least around then. It was before Leo got injured. It was before Marine Ioannis got injured. And we said, I don't envy it, because what do? Do you put in a green player because they need minutes and let them figure it out, even if the game is in reach, and then maybe the game is no longer in reach? Yeah. Or do you put them in and then give them a short leash, and then you're overextending perhaps other players, but because there's more confidence and more hard minutes to get a stop? It seems like Chris DeMarco has picked the former. And it's like I was saying earlier, it's a choice. I clearly do not like that choice. If I were ever a basketball coach, that's not the choice I would make. That doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It doesn't, I guess, in theory, mean Chris DeMarco's wrong. But what do we know? Erica has 0 games coached for the New York Liberty ever. And Chris DeMarco is barely holding on to a 500 record, or I guess technically still plus, a 500-ish record, and one of the top 8 spots. That, like, I can say what I want to say, and I might be wrong. And what are the consequences? Maybe someone doesn't watch the podcast, or they give a snarky comment somewhere. His, the impact of him making the wrong choice at the wrong time, because the choice can be, exactly. Game 5, you might need to do one thing. Game 15, it's another. It's the same team, same scenario, same player. It's situational. There seems to be a rigidness and a sticking to, this is going to happen at this point in time. Or maybe it's sequential. When this happens, then this happens, then this happens. If only life were buttoned up and packaged in such a way. So is it bad coaching because of a lack of experience? Is it bad coaching because of rigidity? Is it even bad coaching? Because some people don't think it's bad coaching. Is it just a gamble that isn't going right? I mean, I think there are a few different ways. I'm leaning towards it's either too rigid and or too green. And probably a combination. It's a little bit of a cocktail, if you will.
Yeah.
The decision making has not been good for this New York Liberty squad in games that were within reach. And then all of a sudden they get blown. And we've talked about this. And I saw someone mention our Seattle podcast, different conversation, because that's not a championship team for this season. In a couple of years, that roster, you're gonna be like, wait, they have everybody, or had everybody, they had all those players on the same roster. They must have won 3, 4, 5. You know, that's a different conversation. That's where New York is. They already did the bad work. Those were the Hopkins years. Why did we suffer through Walt Hopkins only to return with potentially a more rigid or a less experienced head coach? First time WNBA head coach.
I wonder. I think I think I want to stick with the Dallas game for a minute, if that's cool. And I think I want to see if I can take the.
Yes. Also,
there's something
as
there.
you do that,
I'll get that in a minute.
so people did realize, and we're going to talk about this, but let's keep it with Dallas before we talk about the facial expressions.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where I think it's the classic process versus result, and the result of last night was Marine Fatou was so good, and 10 rebounds off the bench, the tiniest guard in the court, getting 10 boards, which is amazing. It's like, hey, good work, gold star and a thumbs up. So that's something where the result worked out well. I guess I wonder I think Erica, for you, and I'm assuming a lot of the fans here, is do you think the process of, I'm going to get a player who hasn't had these minutes, have them ride out the rest of the fourth quarter in a close game? Is that where it's like, the rigidity of I have to get them minutes here doesn't necessarily fit within the sort of game flow as to how you thought things were going throughout, or even just the idea of Chris, I would say, prioritizing dev play. I think, like, so circle back to earlier, prioritizing dev players in the rotation when and once their number hit, they're no longer in the rotation, when you have to figure out to get them on the roster, because if you don't, it's a situation where you run into problems. Because earlier this year, just to stay on the dev player point, Alex Fowler got a lot of minutes, and the first set of minutes were good in the Portland game that they won, but then she kept getting the minutes, and it's, okay, it's not hitting as well right now. And they were a little bit more ransacked. I think Laney-Hamilton was out at that point. So it's like, okay, this player is getting more minutes. And because they're getting extra minutes, the sort of flaws are showing up a bit more. Whereas if they were a little bit lower in the rotation, that could be okay, they come in for like a little spot session here, but not, you expect them to play like 10, 12 minutes a night. And that's where that's where the boat gets leaks, in a sense. So I guess I wonder, would the best sort of like idea, I guess, if I were to sort of synthesize it, it's more like you did this thing, but the end result that you got was good, but the way you got there, I'm like, I'm a concerned passenger in this car right now, kind of thing.
Okay, that was a lot. And I think what I would say is, it's not just the developmental players. It is managing what now is a full 12-person roster, but again, made a choice to have a first-time head coach do this, knowing there was going to be a CBA change, did we know exactly what it was going to be? But you knew that thing was going to be different. Having to navigate that and I don't understand that. So that's even pre-DeMarco, right? When it comes to DeMarco, and what I think you're alluding to, again, developmental players are not all equal. There wasn't a spot for Kate Money Martin on Golden State anymore. Goes to LA as a developmental player, and it quickly became evident that there was trust and confidence in Kate Martin, and that, burn through that 12 and then come sign this piece of paper.
And then
now the difference there also is that Kate Martin had WNBA experience. And listen, you either need hard minutes in that you are playing in clutch time and you know how to problem solve in clutch time, or you need to have gotten your butt blasted by playing in a WNBA game and on a WNBA team that's not playing particularly well. And you have to navigate through it and figure out how to be a professional. There's several different ways to earn more veteran status than maybe your years of service or your minutes do. So why am I saying that? Kate Martin came in as a rookie for the Vegas Aces. Okay. So in practice, you're getting guidance, you're getting the physicality of Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, and what's her name? Oh, damn.
Yeah, she was there.
22. Won a couple of MVPs times 2, actually. Right, Asia freaking Wilson. Okay. Then you go to an expansion team that becomes the first expansion team ever to make the postseason in its inaugural season. And she was playing significant minutes. She was playing hard minutes. She was playing postseason minutes. So Kate Martin coming in as a developmental player, there's a resume there in the WNBA. Not a lot of other developmental players can say that. So for me, if you committed to having developmental players be a part of your rotation and really giving them a chance and being about it. And maybe here's another thing. I hope Chris DeMarco realizes that it's a significantly fewer games in the WNBA than in the MNBA. You ain't got time. If you wanted to do all of that, if you wanted to test the mettle of your developmental players, it needed to happen before the Commissioner's Cup championship. So that's the thing there. I think there's a rigidity there. The other thing is, as I said earlier in my rant, you have to know when to stop the bleeding. And here's the thing. And see, listen, haters gonna hate all the time. We got people coming over from Tempestagi Talk that just want me to hate on Sonia Rahman. Sonia is not coaching the New York Liberty.
Yeah, different scale here. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. The Sonia is not coaching a team that welcomes the pressure of championship or bust. How is that hard to understand? Yeah. That the standards and the process are innately different between a team that not only is expected to, not only on paper can be, not only in practice is when they want to be. And when they're coached well, a championship caliber team, but is 2 seasons, not even 2 full seasons removed from a champion. How is it difficult to understand that the experimenting that you do on a New York Liberty, on a Las Vegas Aces, on a Minnesota Lynx is different than the experimenting that you do on a Seattle Storm, on a Connecticut Sun, on a Portland Fire, even on a Toronto Tempo? You know what else is the differentiator between those two teams? The bench bosses. Cheryl Reeve can experiment till kingdom come because she has the reputation and has the receipts. And by receipts, I mean trophies. Cheryl Reeve taking a chance versus someone else trying to make their mark because it's their first year in the league, period. 2 different things. And no, I wasn't even talking about Chris. I was talking about Sonia. So if you thought about Chris, there you go. Isn't that part of the problem? And why I was like, don't bring me no starter coaches to a championship caliber team. The experimentation has to be quick, swift, informed by data and by what you know your players can do, not what you think they can do, not what you hope they can do, but what you have seen them do in practice, and more importantly, probably what you have seen them do to win you games when the officiating wasn't going the way they wanted it, when one of their stars wasn't dropping points, when they got someone injured mid-game. Do I need to go on? Is it not clear why those are different things? Sonia can experiment, and she's going to make mistakes. Asking her to be fired when a team is losing in clutch time, her team is losing in clutch time as the 12th seed now, saying that she needs to be fired when a coach of the 7th seeded team and the 2024 championship team is also not just losing, they're not even losing in clutch time. They're getting blown out. Not the same. You don't have to like Sonia, but calling for her job, that sounds like some Chicago Sky stuff to me.
Yeah, that's
then keep Tyler Marsh on for 2 seasons. That sounds like some Dallas Wings stuff to me. Keeping Chris Koklanis on for the whole season, even though it was evidently clear early on that wasn't working out. Sonia has a different pathway, and it's understood. Dallas, I think they were confusion. Chicago, clearly, and yes, I said confusion. That was on purpose. Chicago is saying one thing, and they're doing another over and over and over and over. That is not what we have been hearing from New York, but now the actions in that, it does seem like it's a rigid system, or there was a pre-subscribed to a certain thing and how it was going to look that was drawn up in maybe, I don't know, October, and now it's July, and you still with that same rickety plan. So that's what I'm saying, Brian. Get your developmental players in the game. Love that we have that. And this is the first year we've talked about it. How is that going to look when you didn't even have to carry 12 players? That's also mandatory. So you've got those two things competing. Have to carry 12 now. Because championship teams, they'll drop down to 10 and rock with 7-day contracts till the cows come home. Because they're going to run their 6-7 player rotation. Yep. Can't do that anymore. Mm-hmm. And you have developmental players. But you have to be strategic. I think the teams that are doing it the best, they've already waived players. They've traded players, or I should say, they've waived players. They've signed players. Some of them have had to do it while also signing 7-day contracts because they're not healthy. So there are people who are figuring it out. And by people, I mean organizations. And then there's the New York Liberty. How many transactions have we seen the Aces make? They're a top 5 team. How many transactions have we seen Minnesota make? Top 5 team. Dallas too, right? If I'm not mistaken. Or am I?
Maybe I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, or was that? I keep getting Dallas a minute because they kind of flip-flopped some players, especially in the front court.
But still, yeah.
So it's not just that until last night, offensive rebounds were trash. It's not just team can't hold a lead. Maybe they'll win, but you can pretty much guarantee, or let me put it this way. More often than not, win or lose, they're going to lose a lead. Might win the game, but they're going to lose a lead at some point. And I'm not talking like a 2-point lead or an 8-point lead. 16 points and can't close a game. So it's not just the developmental players. It's not just having to incorporate developmental players. It is that this has to be double Dutch. There has to be constant motion, and there's not. It's like seeing a coach walk through several different parts of a play, and if the first part of the play gets blown up, instead of going to the second option or the third option or even the eighth option, the coach insists that the drill cannot continue until you succeed. Like it's a freaking video game, until you succeed in the first option. Baby, there's a shot clock. Regulation has a limit. you can't be out here, trying to get past level 1 by just hitting reset. Get through the motion. So, all right, I want to go back though. And no, I'm not going to keep the same energy for Sonia.
Yeah, different
because of
scale.
everything that I said.
Yeah, different scale. Like, because I think just to briefly become the third host of Tempestashi Talk, where we keep a local eye on the Seattle Storm. And firstly, hello, Orthodox. Good to see you. I think for Seattle, because essentially it's just the kids, Heidemann and Big Mama and Jade Melvin. So it's just like it's young kids over there. So, and you want, even the game last night, I looked up, I'm like, oh, they're up by 8 against Minnesota, then they lost. I'm like, oh, darn, they lost. But it's one of those things where the failures for a group of all rookies is helpful because they are in a situation where, okay, this is what championship level basketball looks like. This is what elite play looks like. And especially for teams that aren't really expected to go anywhere, like a Seattle, even a Connecticut, although their circumstances way different and honestly a lot more tragic considering the shenanigans from the league office for them over the past year. It's one of those things where the failure, you try and you fail, and the failure is where you learn to be better for next time. Because even in the Indiana game, I saw a post-game clip of Don Malonga being like, "Oh yeah, we got a terrible whistle tonight, but we'll learn from it and be better next time." So it's one of those things where the failures happen now, and you want the losses to happen early. And to Mike's point, you want to, as you're rebuilding and getting to where you want to go, you do what you need to do. And with the substandard, I guess this, I don't know how to classify 2025 for them, but it wasn't where they wanted to be, I'd say.
No, it wasn't. And you know what? Actually, I'm sorry, Brian, real quick, since we're kind of doing this comp, because it's come up here. The way, not exactly the same, but the way the 2-4-2-5 Storm underperformed is how this Liberty team is starting to feel. Different scenarios, and it's almost like like the inverse or the opposite, like they're going in opposite directions, but heading to the destination, like they're just switching places. Underperformed team with veterans, with stars, with on paper a team that should have gotten through the first round. And yes, you could say, oh, well, they almost did. You shouldn't be at an almost did situation when you have Skylar Diggins, Nneka Ogwumike, when you have the number 2 pick and you didn't play the number 2 pick in Dominique Malonga. And I didn't even get to yet. Gabby Williams is on that squad. Slim, did you catch what she was doing before she got hurt? Didn't see that in Seattle. Didn't see it in Seattle. ¿Por qué? And I like Noel Quinn. Something wasn't working. And it came to the decisions, whether those were made by the coaching staff, whether they were executed by the coaching staff and perhaps coming from or strongly urged from elsewhere, maybe also something that now we need to start talking about with the New York Liberty.
Yeah.
And this is what's blowing me because, Damien has a question that we're going to get to here. But Ronnie is saying, and this is in response to Mike Boyd, talking about Seattle. Mike was talking about Seattle and how they have to miss the playoffs to be a lottery team. Seattle's not making the playoffs. They're not making the playoffs. If you had asked me to bet every dollar that I have ever made in my life and ask me if I would put it on the New York Liberty, even regardless of the questions I had about a first-year coach, missing the playoffs, I would not have put money down on that scenario. And yet, why do I feel like that could actually happen?
I am the other direction. I don't
There
like.
you go. Tell him,
I'd bet
Brian.
my-
Let him know.
I'd bet my. I don't think. I'd say 0. Honestly, of them potentially missing, like 0. And I think even if they are as incompetent as can be, the teams beneath them aren't what I think is like, oh, okay, they're gonna do enough to win. Like Portland, no, like they had the good start, but they're sort of settling to where they want to be. LA is Plum Dog is out. They're always injured. They can't defend. They're looking to get rid of veterans. And then after that, it's what? Toronto, they're missing Niara. Poor Niara's hurt. Like they're not it right now. Slim has been out for most of the year. Who knows when she's back? Kiki has been out as well. Chicago, no, not today, not ever. Phoenix, no, that's not happening either.
Not.
Seattle, they're not trying to, even if they could win games, that's not going to happen. And they don't want it. They don't want that to happen because they've got dreams of a player from USC joining Seattle. So a playoff run this year is not in their best interest, and they're not going to try to do that either. So I think even if the Liberty bungle their way to the finish line, the teams beneath them, I would strike me down by lightning if it did happen, but I don't see anybody else under there doing what they need to really catch up, honestly. Like, and I think
let's look at the teams that we're really talking about, because everyone above the New York Liberty, they're gonna have to prove that they can catch them, right? But even if they hold the line, you don't think Washington, Portland, or the LA Sparks could bump New York out 2 spots?
I think Washington, if they continue where they're at now, they might flip-flop 7-8. But Portland, LA, pushing them, just like pushing New York into the 9 range, I don't think so. I don't see it. And I think I'm not trying to be like dismissive of like the work that Bridget Carlton and them folks are doing in Portland, but
Good in clutch time.
Yes, yeah, good in clutch time. Like they've got fight, they've got passion to how they play, and they have the Fire Pit is a wonderful basketball atmosphere. It's very engaging and very fun. Strike me by lightning if Portland were to knock them out and keep New York out of the playoffs. The Sparks, the problem with the Sparks is they for a large portion of the season have been by the numbers the worst defense in WNBA history, and it's hard to win when you defend as badly as they have. Their organization is in flux right now because they fired the GM last week, and now they're trying to figure out what the strategy is. Do they offload veterans like an Ariel Atkins? Does Plum Dog, when she gets back, does she want to stick around for a team that's not meeting the expectations she had for when she decided to come in as the number 1 option on this team? They've still got to get their organizational things down pat when it comes to the new owner and the role that Mark Walter and his ownership group is taking. They've got the federal government in their business. So that's going to be a little bit tricky there, which I can't talk about because I haven't heard enough about it, but it'll sound good. So the Sparks have a lot of chaos surrounding them. And then with the on-court, the defense has been so porous.
Yeah. Between you and Al, I'm sorry. Y'all mean to tell me, not you necessarily, Brian, but Al is trying to tell me that it is crazy. This is the swing. It's a 3 at most right now. 3-game swing for the Liberty to be out of a playoff picture. That's crazy? You think it's crazy?
Crazy. I think crazy might be a bit much, but I'd say highly unlikely. And I
don't say highly. I think it is a possibility. Yeah. It is upgraded to probable. It's not questionable. It's probable.
If they miss the playoffs, someone needs to bring some lightning to my house and strike me down with it, because I don't see it right now.
Well, Brian, I wish you hadn't said that, because I don't wish you ill. And I'm not saying it's highly likely, but it is a possibility. It is a probability. It is mathematically possible that this New York Liberty squad falls out of the top 8. It's very possible.
Yeah,
They're one injury away.
that is true. I can't. Yeah, I
And
can't.
you know what?
Fair.
Unfortunately, they might not even be one injury away. So let's go to Sabrina.
There you go. Back on screen. Wait.
Sabrina did not like or had a strong reaction to friend of the podcast, Jackie Powell, asking about Betnijah Laney-Hamilton. Brian, as you know, we've been asking about Betnijah Laney-Hamilton since the beginning of the season. First, it was, what is the timeline for return? Then it was, oh my goodness, Betnijah Laney-Hamilton, an electric performance at Barclays. Is the timeline for return or the reconditioning? Are we on track? Then, when we thought we had an answer there, Betnijah Laney-Hamilton takes personal time. Okay, comes back from personal time and almost looks like maybe we got to go back into reconditioning. So when I tell you we've been asking about Betnijah Laney-Hamilton almost every media availability, it's because there has been fluctuation with Betnijah Laney-Hamilton. Now, with a clean bill of health, we started seeing DNPs, Brian. Okay, again, reconditioning. Okay, cool, tight. But then we start hearing, and we talked about this on the show, Betnijah saying she's cleared. Betnijah saying doesn't know clearly what her role is. Betnijah being asked and not verbally, but in the scrum.
I was there.
Saying, I did not know I was going to be a DNP for the Commissioner's Cup. And since then, we've seen Betnijah, I want to say, Brian, in maybe 2 or 3 games.
Yeah,
very limited minutes. And now it's DNP CP coaches, or CD, excuse me, coach's decision, or DNP Chris DeMarco. That's the coach whose decision it is. It's been DNP. And again, if we just look at these last 2 games, despite the New York Liberty at times looking in desperate need of a veteran at the guard or wing position who knows how to get a stop. And so is the look that we're seeing, Brian, and we've been asked this, is the look that we see from Sabrina Ionescu, is that because of the question? Is it because of the situation? Is it a little bit of both?
Second night in a row with a number of other players out tonight.
Yeah, we have a lot of depth on this team, and roles change game to game. And I'm really proud of this team and the way we fought tonight. And the problem with having so many good players, including Fotukes was talked about earlier, is that there's only so many minutes. And again, it's just the depth that we have, and we have confidence in everybody, and it showed tonight when we came together and pulled out the win.
Jeff?
Thank you.
I mean, we've gotten to know the mannerisms of these players. Not that we know them personally or even well, outside of
workplace associates, I say.
Workplace associates, but it is our job to talk to them. And when you talk to people, you pick up on their mannerisms. Brian, what were you picking up from that sequence right there?
I think based off of how sometimes players react to questions we ask, I think it's probably a combination. It's probably a combination, but I'd say 60-40 the question being asked in that moment. And I say that because I saw some comment on social media last night about, why doesn't the New York, if this were happening in Las Vegas, people would be on it every day. And I'm like, you don't pay attention because we ask about it literally all the time, on camera and off camera and everything between. We're asking about it all the time. And I think it's a situation where I think for Sab, I feel like sometimes when players win, you get a question that's deemed negative per se. They get annoyed. I've been in the room plenty of time. Erica, you've been in too, where it's you ask the question, and it's someone makes a face, and it's oh, okay, whatever.
Yep.
It happens a lot, and sometimes
it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Or you can ask a question. You can even report on something that is true at the moment, it is proved to be true in time, and a player will say straight to your face, I don't know where you got that. That's a lie. Why are you asking that question?
Yeah, like players sometimes like will give us nothing while giving us something, and then it's on us to like figure out the two. So I think in a moment like that, I think it's probably just Sab was not really feeling the question being asked in that moment there, especially since you're not in, especially with the way the Zoom setup is, we're not there because they're on the road. So it's you're far away, and then the question is coming from a distance. Where sometimes if we're in the room, it's a little bit high swung over. I'm leaning more towards the latter for your comment there, the being asked again, because it is a situation even Saturday, whereas the you can't play everybody bit. I'm like, whatever. And then other games is like, because the Sunday game against Toronto, she was quite good, and everyone was pissed because she got thrown out for what was hysterical bit of business. So yeah, yeah. But like she played and she played well and she got those minutes, and then the conversation besides being annoyed at the ejection was, oh look how good she was first night, she really helped study us, all that kind of thing. So I think players hearing the why are you bringing this negative thing to me following a win, I think that's where the reaction comes from. If I had to assume, but I think I would say I'm leaning more towards that, but I think probably for Sab, probably annoyed that her friend and teammate and someone that she's been with on this journey for a long time isn't part of the win. I think there's an annoyance in that too, and I think that's the humanity. Not, I think humanity is wrong because like they're all humans, but I think you know what I mean. Was like, oh, that's that it's my road dog over there, and she's not getting in the game, and it's I know she can play. I see her every day. I see her more than me, Brian Florenson, on Zoom from wherever the hell. And it's a situation where I think probably annoyed that her teammate and longtime teammate and someone that means a lot isn't getting on the court when I think there's still room for her to be in the court. So I think it's a combination of both, but front facing, probably just annoyed at the question, which you'll live.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that, at least in that moment, I don't know how Sab feels about it. I don't think any of that in that moment had anything to do with Betnijah, and it had everything to do with the question being asked.
I think so.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want to have to ask this question. And I feel confident that it's going to be asked until there is a definitive answer.
You know, I think to that point, like I think I was telling someone last night, because I think especially because the way the setup is now, it's especially in the post game in the room, it's like you got one. If you're lucky, you probably sneak in a quick second before they get the mic back to you. So I think my brain is more like, okay, this is a thing that I know is happening. I see a player that I think can contribute, but it's not in rotation anymore. At least from what I'm seeing, I'm like, I think my brain is almost like a why am I asking a thing I think I know the answer to when there are other things I want to like discuss and get to, like not to sort of say it's not important, but I think with me and my slot and my time, as far as like me asking questions, things like that, I'm like, okay, if I know the answer to this, I want to ask something that I don't think.
Do we know the answer? Do we know the answer?
I think just speaking for me, and it's not me like reporting anything. It's just me speculating. I think I've made peace with the fact that Betnijah probably isn't going to be on the team by the time the deadline comes, or if so, it's going to be at a very reduced role. I think I've made peace with that. I don't like it. I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it fits. And I think that if the vision of successful basketball for the organization doesn't include a player who can fill in those holes that you're looking for and do the things that I think help, as far as like being very communicative on defense, someone who's always yapping on the court, definitely doing things that sort of keeps everyone stable and steady and can get in the mid-range, because a lot of times the rim may not be available to you. Like last time in the third quarter, they got to the rim, they just couldn't make jack. It happens like that sometimes. So if you're able to get it, you're able to work in that pinch post area, that mid post area, another player who can post up, because JJ is someone who can space the floor, and when she posts up, a lot of times she starts in the wing and she can get more room to work with. You have a player like a Laney-Hamilton who can contribute, who does these things well, who can run the offense. We've spent so many years talking about Sabrina on ball, off ball. If the defense is so tight and sad that you need someone else off ball, and you want to not put too much on Pauline because she gets into too much foul trouble, you have a steady vet that's played with Sabrina for a long time across different coaching administrations, and someone that can fit well, and someone that does have more size. I was talking earlier about the bit for this team is you need size, and you need size. That way you have another defender. Like Sav has been fine. I think Sav has been okay on defense. Like, she hasn't been bad, but you have another good defender next to her. You make it so where she's not having to guard like an AZ Fudd, although AZ isn't the level of a score and playmaker as an Arike Gunmawale, Jack Young, whatever. But one less person for Sav to worry about, so you can sort of camp her out a little bit, so she can expend a little bit more energy running the show on offense. I think Laney-Hamilton is a good fit for what they do, and I think the 2 game set Seattle Golden State was bad. Admittedly, I think everyone can say it was rough out there, but I don't think it was rough enough to be like, I don't think it was rough enough to say my vision of winning competitive high stakes basketball does not include a player like that. I think
yes. And to be clear, I don't think it's so doom and gloom that you have to abandon completely incorporating developmental players or 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, or really, I guess 8, 9, 10, because if 11 and 12 are Beck Gardner and Betnijah Laney-Hamilton, we ain't saying them.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't think that what we've seen is bad enough to lose complete confidence in someone who had to get an injection to help you win a championship.
Gave her leg to the cause. Gave her leg to the cause and won them a finals game with.
And if we want to keep it a buck, who you paid $400K under the new CBA?
Yeah.
So here, I genuinely want to know. Of course, Brian, we will get your thoughts, and I want to know what the chat thinks. Why is a $400K player in the WNBA economy, just to be clear, someone who's pulling that much from the hard salary cap, a DNP? Is this trade all the way? Is this, you I don't know. You took the coach's last beverage out of the cooler. I mean, like, what is the reason, Brian?
Yeah, I can't, because I think from everything I've been able to glean as far as like how they want to play, it's like I guess because I think the way they want to play is you want to get to the rim, like paint touches first, floor space. Now you're able to get everything there, like you like entry in the wings, like wing entry, a lot of off-ball movement, a lot of things like that. And I think I get it, and I'm like, it makes sense, and like my basketball aligns with that. I'm like, yes, move, like everybody moving, ball moving, players moving, everyone's cutting, things like that. Like, I get it, it makes sense, it fits. You get someone like a JJ who can initiate, like JJ after the cup win. Our pal Nikias Duncan was asking her, hey, I've noticed you're handling a lot more in pick and rolls, sort of similar to how you were in the MVP year in 2021. And she's like, yeah, I haven't done that in a long time, and it feels good. Like, I'm succeeding. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm in a lot of new exciting roles.
Right, but let's get to, like, I want to get to it, Brian. I want to get to it. What is exactly happening? Is she going to be a DNP for the remainder of the season? Is she going to be traded? Which a lot of people think she's going to be traded. And if she's not traded and you're not going to play her, why would you sign a player at $400K just to DNP CD them for over half the season? To me, that's either a coaching like blunder, big time. It's a front office blunder, and or it's both.
Combination, yeah.
You know, and I want to talk about because logic would say this is a player getting traded, right?
Mhm.
Except that from my reporting, my understanding is that a player like Betnijah Laney-Hamilton at $400K with her veteran leadership experience at the position she plays and at this time of the season, where is she going?
Mm-hmm.
And my reporting and speaking to people, the likely candidate is what would be considered, I'm going to put air quotes over this, another contender. Because again, I'm not sure New York is a clear-cut contender right now, but you'd probably be trading with a contender. So then there's Ronnie's question. Why would any of the teams, she is saying 12 here, then I think 12 is fine. But if particularly any other top 8 team, why would they help the Liberty if one of the big 3 or prize rookies is not a part of the equation? So here we go. You're not playing a player because you want to trade them, but the trade value to me, given how the Liberty have been playing, is plummeting. It was already going to be difficult because of the 400K, because of the veteran status, because of the position, because of where we're at. And now you're not playing this player. Stock down. Trade value, to use a Tasha Heidemann saying, out the window. So either way, y'all are somebody somewhere, or likely multiple people, if y'all are not blatantly messing up, you have made some massive missteps. If you were trying to trade, I don't even know if that's possible.
Yeah. It's
and
one of
if
those.
You're not going to trade and you're not going to play, then you made a mistake signing at 400K.
Yeah.
And if you signed at 400K thinking that Betnijah Laney-Hamilton, hook, crook, hell, high water, was going to play, then what's happening now? All things considered, that's not happening. You see what I'm saying? Either way, the road leads to somebody messed up.
Yeah, somebody. Yeah, and I think the bit about hiding players for who you're trying to trade is very like the men do this all the time. Like
men coded, yes.
Yeah.
MNBA, NHL, that's a big thing.
Yeah,
I understand it honestly in the NHL because like you could get like I almost said a cleat. It is not a cleat. It is called a skate. There it goes. A skate to the face. And that's like, I understand you don't want them injured. Also, are you trying to pull a Ryan and be on air when you find out you get traded? A Wilmer Flores being on third base and someone says you're traded and you start crying? You know what I'm saying? Like, who's trying to go out like that?
Yeah. And I think also what happens, and a friend of mine was making the point to me today, is like when the org Chris came from, Golden State, like they had a situation like not similar to Betnijah, but because it was a way younger player, but they had a player they wanted to move, and then they benched him for like a month and a half, and then when he played, it's it's these points. He'd score like 30 points and look pretty good, but then it's hey, we still want to move him, and then eventually everything becomes so caustic and toxic, and it's just like, dude, just send me anywhere. And then they did, and then not to the value that they could have gotten if they moved earlier. And not to say that it's a 1-to-1, but I think for the Liberty, it's a situation where, dude, you have like goals. Like you have stuff you got to get done now. Like I think if you're trying to hide a player because you don't think that they're healthy enough and trying to sort of like pull a fast one on someone, teams see through that. Like you pick any organization on the planet, like they're gonna really dig into what's happening and see like, okay, this is not really this may not be something that I would like to partake in. And it's a social situation where you trade a player who's going to be an unrestricted free agent in the winter time / WNBA summer. It's why would I do that if I don't have to? And you're not going to play him, and something must be wrong. And then the further you're away from an injury, the better a player's going to be. So it's like, if I want to get this player, I just wait like 4 months, not playing anyway, and we can get that. We can do something different later. So why do that? And then it's a situation where I think she feels a need. She can contribute. I think slotting. I think I would say slotting her above Beck G is very reasonable in my book. If you're looking to like yank someone out the rotation, like Beck G would be the one right now. Like I'd give Betnijah
yes
her
and no.
minutes.
It's not comfortable for me, but also Beck A, who had
Beck
zero
A,
confidence at the start of the season,
yeah,
and
but
now
then
is getting
3 minutes last night. Yeah,
started in Dallas.
started last night. Yeah, started last night.
And I don't feel the same way a lot of people feel about Rebecca Allen. I just don't. And that was a choice. I was like, okay, of all of the players available to start and who have started, Rebecca Allen was not who I was expecting to fill that void because of the Marine Johannes injury.
Yeah, and I think it's a situation where coaches love saying, like, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And Beck has stayed ready, to her credit. Like, she had her nose broken. She's still ready. And Black Metronome, I agree with you 100%. Like, that's where, yeah. Wait, there we go. Yeah.
Thank you, Brian. Yes.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I think, coaches always talk about staying ready so you don't have to get ready. And Beck A, to her credit, has been ready. Like she got like when she got those minutes in the Dallas game, she helped them spark a comeback. And then the game was lost when she broke her nose in front of the referee and they didn't call it, which
that was nonsense. Oh my gosh.
Embarrassing work from Adam and Kathy as far as they putting the referees together, which is another conversation, but we'll save that. But yet I might put that in an Ask Me Anything for Erica and Roberta when they go to Chicago. So
yes, please do. Yes, we do have the AMA. We mentioned it at the top, and we'll talk about it. Put the graphic up for you so you know what we're working with.
And to circle back to Betnijah, I think it's one of those things where I think she can still contribute. Like even if it's not,
she can.
Even if it's not to where it was in 2023, I'm like, there's still a good player in there. Like the body may go, but the mind is sharp, and the mind communicates, and the mind yaps, and the team needs yappers because sometimes, like,
oh man,
we hit it briefly up top a little while ago, but the zone was so bad last night, and Dallas is getting so many easy opportunities just with the faintest amount of ball movement, and it's one of those things where it's like, oh, you're running this all the time, and then there are holes springing every other possession where you run it. Why not have someone who can help plug those holes and make sure that everyone is where they need to be on the court? Because you're not trying to play Brianna Stewart 36 minutes a night, and you have to be very mindful. And Laney-Hamilton is not going to take Stewie's role, of course, but you need a communicative player on the court, someone that gets everyone where they need to be, because coach can tell you one thing, but it's different. Like, it's different when your boss tells you something versus when your colleagues themselves tell you. Like, it sticks to mind more when it's your coworker doing it for you. Like when your boss does it, it's whatever. But when someone who's actually working alongside you is like, oh, hey, I need you to be here. You need to be here. This is the strategy. This is what we're trying to do. It hits a lot different, and it's more. I feel like your brain is more receptive to it. So having a player who does talk, who can run the offense, who can initiate, who does these things well that you need, because you run the. I think we haven't quite gotten there yet, but you don't want Pauline to hit the rookie wall early because she's had to take on a lot of. She's done exceedingly well, of course, but you don't want to burn her out too much because she had a little ankle injury. She's had some rough games. Even last night, Marine F was the closer down the stretch, and I think the right choice because she was so good. And Pauline didn't have the best of games, and Pauline had rough games recently. So you want to have a situation where you're not burning her out early, and you're not sort of like being like, oh, hey, Pauline, I need you to do this. I'm like, hey, can you spread out a little bit? Like you have like. He's not wrong when he says there's talent and depth on this team, because I think it looks different when everyone's hurt. It looks different because you're down 2, and I think you're down the glue of the team in Leo, so everything looks complete. Everything is like the painted picture is so distorted right now, and it looks different when everyone is back and everyone's back in rhythm. But I still think there's a ton of talent and depth on this team. And I think it's a matter of figuring out what the best rotation is. And I think for winning basketball, I believe Betnijah Laney-Hamilton is a contributor to that and should be. And I think if given minutes, someone that can get the job done, like the game she went back into, it was kind of rough, but it's like, yes,
I mean,
What?
it can't be
What?
any
What?
rougher. How could
What?
it possibly
It is
be
worse.
worse than what's happening right now? And
Mhm.
again, I think the trade value is subterranean
Yeah.
at this point. It's bad. You'd have to give more than just Betnijah Laney-Hamilton. Again, from my sourcing, that's not something necessarily that this team wants to do.
Yeah.
So now we suffer. And so it's again,
And
it's
also-
you did maybe too much too soon in some areas and not enough quick enough in others.
Yeah. And just to sort of stay on that point a little bit more as far as the things that have to go out, like when they made their trade last year, 2 picks went out the door. And hey, the play they bought in last year, it didn't hit the way it didn't hit all the way they wanted to. And then it's 2 picks at the door. Like
Right.
you don't
I'm actually glad you brought this up because Kamal is saying it would be a blessing to end up in the Watkins draft to doggo lottery. Here's the thing. New York can bomb out worse than any of the other teams. They could be in last place and they're not getting a lottery pick. They're not getting anywhere near a lottery pick because it is cumulative.
Mhm.
Cumulative. Washington's going to get a better pick. Washington might get at least 2 picks if Chicago keeps futzing around.
Oh wait, and then they have a Seattle pick.
Was it Ronnie? Was it Ronnie who talked about them trades? Come on,
Yeah.
Ronnie. I think that was
Yeah.
you. Ronnie or Sharice, I think.
Yeah. I'll have to I'll double check this after the show, but I think
There it
didn't Washington get a pick from Seattle last year for Slim? And it's like in retrospect, it's like, oh hey, that's a good
Minnesota! How did Minnesota get Olivia Miles?
Also, Erica, are you, my friend, ready for a bit of breaking news? I got a notification for on my phone.
Breaking news. I look very New York right now. I've never worn a hat and hoodie like this, but if y'all didn't know, I'm actually from New York. I feel like I outed myself. I was like, I'm not even cold. I just wanted to wear my hoodie like
It's fly. The real it's
come on.
it's real,
I'm feeling it. I got my Paris. Like, come on. What are we doing? Anyway, breaking news. Let's go, Brian.
Via our good pal Alexa Philippou, Minnesota Lynx star Nafisa Collier is
I
listed
did see that. Yep.
probable for tomorrow's game against Seattle.
CBS is like, are you available? I'm like, nah, fam, I'm busy.
No, America's number 1 falls into second place tonight because this is where the real G's are today. Also, fun business, and I want to see I would love to just get like an occasional oh hey Fee, here's the ball. How about you try to score against Dominic Malanga? That's what I want to see. I want some Dom matchups on Fee. I want as well. I'm making this briefly about the Seattle Storm, but that game is going to be fun. You should watch and keep up with Tempestashi Talk because that is a fun team that you will like and love.
Oh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Thank you, Mike boy. Let's go.
Right.
I'm actually gonna be in New York tomorrow. Very quickly. Another reason I'm like, yes, cover my head is because, like, some of y'all might know, depending on your texture and your lifestyle choices, but right before you get your hair done in certain styles in particular, and also like mine is just a cut, but my stylist is very clear that I cannot put product in my hair and it cannot be newly washed. So the curls are doing crazy things right now when it is 115 degrees out in this Tulsa sun, and I cannot put new product or run no water through these curls. So your girl looking a little rough. I will look amazing come tomorrow night, but these curls had to be tamed. Sure. So when you see women walking around like this, they're probably on their way to get that bust down. You know what I'm talking about? Come on, some of y'all know. Some of y'all know. And I have actually, I'm lying. I was about to say I don't even have my bonnet. My bonnet is right here. It is, when I tell you, I know exactly where that thing is. Okay, because we about to be friends for the next 24 hours.
Oh man.
But it's gonna be tapered, it's gonna be tight, and the curl is gonna be popping for All-Star. Speaking of All-Star, let's go. On Thursday, we have our Ask Me Anything. It's going to be with Roberta and I. We're going to be live in Chicago, so that's going to be 2:30 Central. And also around 12:30, we're going to be rolling up on WNBA Live. That is the Fan Zone. And we've got pins. We've got Black Rosie Media pins. We've got some stickers for y'all, including stickers for our shows that we have. Never had those before. And we want to know, what fans know the most about WNBA 30 trivia? So if you see us, come say hi, maybe win a prize. But yeah, man, Brian, listen.
Yeah. Chi-Town, boy. As I understand that you guys are going to be at the Obama Library Center or something like that.
Yes, we will. We will. We have a graphic for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And also, we're expecting to have something in the newsletter this week that if you're going to be in Chicago and you want to know where to go, we've got legends doing signing meet and greets. We have active players doing activations at WNBA Live, and some of these are free. So we have our staff that's going to get you ready. So make sure you follow along at Black Rosie Media. You can also look out for this graphic and look out for the date, because we'll have one for you every single day. But on Thursday is the AMA. And if you can't make that AMA, we know it's in the middle of the day, but there's just a lot going on. If you can't make the AMA, then if you're in our Slack community, you can drop your questions like Brian is going to do. Drop your questions for us in the Slack channel. And if you want to join the Slack community, make sure you subscribe to the newsletter, the Women's Basketball Roundup.
Pull up and be cool, people. Pull up, have some fun, say hello to some great people, and be fun.
I think DeMarco is a capital offense basketball wise. You can't waste a weir hello. You can't. That's maybe a Dallas player. You can't waste a year of a veteran. Thank you, Black Metronome. I'm right with you on both counts.
And I'll say this for anyone who's jumping in late. If you think this is not a results thing for Erica right now, we and Erica talked about it last September when Sandy got tossed. She's been on it for a long time, and who did the?
I know we gotta talk about this one. I'm sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
I do not remember that, honestly. Ronnie, your memory is a lot better than mine, because my brain be in the fritz sometimes. So thank you for bringing that up, because I did not remember that, honestly. And it's also not gonna happen. And I think Erica has, like, for the folks that are hopping in now, like, Erica's been consistent on this for a long time. Like, I think the day after, matter of fact, no, it was the same day, because it happened that we found that at 10 o'clock, and then by 2 o'clock we hopped on to do like a whole show. And Erica, I think, has been consistent on that the whole time through. And I think my feeling on it is different. And I feel like I think, just so, like, circling back to up top, I think there's still plenty of room to get things right, but the mistakes are so loud right now.
Very loud.
It's very, very loud, and it feels a lot harder than it needs to be. And when it's hard and the mistakes are loud, I think that's where everything becomes frustrating for people. And I think it's very understandable, because it's like, damn, why is it so hard? We have the second best player in the sport right now, and it's barely there. It's like, it shouldn't be that. So
It shouldn't be. And someone put this in the chat earlier, like, Stewie and JJ had a meeting, presumably sometime either probably after they spoke to us after the Indiana game, and they have both committed to getting double doubles the rest of the way out.
Yeah, like, because I was pinch hitting for Lucas on Saturday night for the recap for the work we do, and I noted it took a long time to get that post game.
Very long. Like, we were waiting for a while.
A long time. I was like, I text Miles. I'm like, yo, it's like, are they on it? And it's just like, my computer's broke. She's like, I haven't started. And I'm like, oh wow, okay, I got it. And it's one of those things where they were, I think, Stewie, JJ, and Chris as well were all forlorn, because it's like, damn, we got bodied on national TV in a game that we shouldn't have lost like that. And it's
come on. I mean, I will say this: I don't know nothing about the NBA draft rules. I'm gonna be honest. I really don't. I do know the WNBA draft rules, and I can tell you with certainty, 100%, unless there is a trade, the New York Liberty are not getting a lottery pick. It's not possible.
Hey,
It's not
Erica.
possible.
Hey, Erica, I have a random question for you.
What up?
When
What up?
when Kathy pulls up and has to deal with press for the first time in God knows how long, do you think someone's gonna ask her if the CBA has actually done anything about the draft rules? Because like it's their rules and they don't tell us anything. They didn't even tell the teams until like 5 minutes ago about what the expansion rules were. So can we get some guidance on the draft? That would be very helpful.
I mean, well, the draft, last I checked, those things are in the
2 years.
collective bargaining agreement. Yes. That being said, girl, I'm saying this, as a, just a phrase, not to you, Brian, just to be clear. Girl, Kathy about to mess around and have some kind of emergency and not show up. Because this draft, there's going to be so many questions. I have so many questions. I don't understand what's going on. I know we talking about the New York Liberty, but listen, the league, you in danger, girl. What is going on? What is going on?
Man. I agree. Metronome, I think this is still a I agree on the first part. Part 2, I'm still this is the optimist brain in me, and I feel like it makes me it puts me in the other side, I think, for most of the chat. And I think more and more each day, more and more of the fan base, I think I'm on the other side where I'm like, it's rough right now, but I think the room is still. Let me grab Kamal's now, and then I can figure out.
Blah 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 blah. Like, I'm gonna read it out loud. The Liberty playing against these elite offensive guards: Ogunbowale, Beckers, Fudd, Miles, McBride, Williams, CC Tutu, Mitchell, and etc. And not using Betnijah Laney-Hamilton, Allen. I'm glad you added Allen and Gardner is a fireable offense. Agree or disagree, Brian?
I would say disagree only because I'm not on Gardner right now. I think the past couple weeks I've been like, it's not really hitting for me. I like that Allen is back in the rotation. I feel like you need the length, especially with Leo out. And I think when Leo gets back, that's where you actually have to like really get a rotation down, set, and ready. Laney-Hamilton, I think she should be playing, and I think even if she's not as long as Allen, and she's not 2021, 2023 version of herself, there's still a good player in there, and you need that. And especially with a group that is a little bit younger than in past years, like you need a steady vet on the court because it can't be Stewie and JJ as the vets doing all the heavy lifting. And then Sabrina she's a vet too, but still, it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, okay, you need a steady hand to guide, everyone else through. And I think that's where Laney-Hamilton comes in. And I want to grab Kay Langs before I forget. Think the roster has talent. Question is fit. I can kind of see where I can get in the car with you, but I think the fit is still there. I think the fit is still solid. It's just a matter of because I think because Pauline has been so good, I think that sort of like slid a lot of different things into other areas where it's like, oh, okay, this guard is so good. It allows us to what? All right. This roster has, I think because Pauline has been so good, it's allowed them to do different kind of things. But I feel ultimately when the group is where it needs to be when everyone's back, it's JJ Stewie 4-5, Sabrina at 1, I'd say, Leo at 3, and then Satu had been starting before she left, and then she
if
got
Satu's
hurt.
healthy, she gets in there, and I think Pauline is
moves to
out.
the bench, yeah. I know.
Sab at the 1 is not.
Overtime.
Sab at the 1, it has to stop. It has to stop.
The eternal question.
I mean, I've said this from jump. It has to stop. At most, she's a hybrid. Jingle Jangle. Listen, Jingle Jangle was making me be like, dang, I'm gonna have to account for that. And then overtime happened.
Guess what? Also, they pulled me back in.
They pulled me back in. Oh, it's another New York classic. I mean, not in the greatest of the whole series, but you can't win them all, right, New York? Anyway, speaking of Jingle Jangle, Sab just commented on Instagram that it's a lie that she was asked to participate in the 3-point contest. See, now this is what we were talking about earlier. Somebody lying. I don't know who, but somebody doing something extra.
Oh man. Oh boy, that league office, man. Boy. It's always to borrow a phrase. It's always into something. Always into something, that office.
No.
Boy,
I disagree with y'all hardcore on not taking a chance on Satu.
Oh,
Satu
yeah.
had a concussion, yes, and we saw what a healthy Satu was. I would take that gamble every single day. There was a comment earlier. I would not have left Niara unprotected, though. I would not have left Niara unprotected. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to tell y'all right now. I'm going to say it. Hold on. Let me get in the right frame so y'all can see me. I'm going to say what I'm about to say. And I'm going to mean what I'm about to say. But I'm not going to like it. I'm going to say it, but I'm not going to like it. If Marine Johannes was protected over Niara, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. I would have kept Niara Sabali. Yes, you run the risk. Unfortunately, and I mean this wholeheartedly, unfortunately, the Sabali sisters, one of which is Satu, they have not had good luck.
Yeah.
When it comes to, I'm talking, these are freak accidents.
Yeah.
Niara,
Yeah.
no broken ribs, but it cannot get realigned.
I've never heard of that's wow. And it wasn't even anything that was egregious, just like a normal basketball play at that. That's just, man.
That's insane. That's
man.
How many times does that happen in sport?
That's
not football or rugby.
Yeah.
That's, these are freakish accidents. And when they're healthy, I would take any Sabali any day. Any Sabali any day.
5, Niara, I'm gonna turn to you, and then what does she do? Look at
that's it. Gets the steal, gets that ball out to another German, Leonie Fiebig, took over overtime. Saying, y'all are talking so bad about this, man. New York is about to do a 180 and win the whole thing. Now,
honestly, I feel like I feel like we've been hard, but I don't think we're any because I still think if everyone's serious, I think they can win the championship. I'll stand on that. That I still believe. It's just a matter of them doing.
They can. They can. Are they gonna do it? It ain't looking great, partner.
Also, Erica, Al Page's comment, were the sirens loud last year for Vegas? Yes. And
yes, they were. And you know what? This is the part I wanted to get to, Brian. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you cook on this. Go on now, Brian.
The funniest thing about last year for Vegas, who was playing the saxophone loud as hell while they were getting beat up and blown out? My dumb ass. I was like, man, look at this team. They ain't about nothing. They're not serious. It's Asia.
Not me.
I was like, man, even the year before when they lost to Liberty, I was like, man, look at what they doing. They wasted her time. This is not a serious team. And what they did, they were bored.
I was like, it ain't looking good, but in Asia Wilson, I trust. And that's what I say about Stewie. Ain't looking good, but in Stewie, I trust. JJ, I hope you're serious about them double doubles, because I'm just trying to understand why you won't commit to staying in the paint. But that's neither here nor there. But here's my thing that I want to stick with on this. What is the whole thing we've been saying this entire podcast? You can say what you want about Vegas and that little skid, but then that massive 16-game winning streak, it took 16 consecutive wins. Look me in the eye, figuratively, and tell me right now, do you believe all of us here, do y'all really believe that this roster with a first time WNBA head coach is going to win 16 games straight or more and pull a Vegas. Vegas had Becky Hammon has Becky Hammon as their coach. Chris DeMarco is not Becky Hammon. Period. How I'm trying to understand how we think it's a foregone conclusion that's going to happen. Is it possible? Sure. My biggest doubt is that Becky Hammon isn't coaching this team. Is that Cheryl Reeve isn't coaching this team. Prove me wrong, Chris DeMarco.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong.
It's going to take
Prove
some
me
doing.
wrong.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of doing, a lot of success, and a lot of like steadiness, and a lot of I would say improvement.
I mean, you the one who brought up Vegas, baby. I'm just, I'm like, let's talk about it. That's because that's what it took for Vegas.
Yeah. Because, like,
and also Becky Hammon versus Chris DeMarco.
Yeah, and I think to Al Page's comment, and before the week I was out, I would say it's a situation where I thought that they would have like stacked up those wins after the Minnesota win. I was like, okay, they've got a good little rhythm, and then it went the other way, and other ways in ways that were very frustrating. And it's like, oh, that shouldn't have happened. Like, oh, yeah, I had it, but then, and then I will say, when we had our real 75 by 10 minutes, it looked like was promised. I think to Kay Lang's point, the ceiling with the 5 being there is why I'm still in on this team this season, because I'm like, I see it. And Julie, the Hall of Famer, but that's another conversation. I'll say that for another time. Erica, we'll talk about that after that. Yep, we'll say that.
Okay, yeah. Maybe a hot take. Let's go. We're gonna get spicy.
I'll save that for after, so I can start working through my thoughts. I think the ceiling for this group is so high, and I think the first Vegas game they won in Vegas is why I'm like, okay, I see it. Like, it's there, and it was in my hand. I can see it there, So I still believe that the ceiling is there for this group. And even the game they won, where they beat up Atlanta convincingly in Atlanta, it's, they were up like 15, 16, 17, and they held it. And Atlanta was never in danger of even getting close to catching them that game. And it's like, okay, I see it. And I see doing it against a good team and a championship contender that we all think is going to be a contender. Even the first Indiana win, I'm like, okay, this is what you guys are doing. You guys got it. Like, y'all came back from like a little deficit, and then you guys ran them off the court in the fourth quarter, had them flustered, had them frustrated. You did everything right. Like, I see it. The ceiling is there. It's just a matter of, can you raise the floor up enough to where you get that? And I think for Chris, that's where it's okay. The talent is here. You have the second best player in basketball in Brianna Stewart. Like, she's there and she's playing elite level basketball. If the Liberty were better, she'd be a favorite for Depoy, but that's probably not going to happen because their record is what it is right now. And then the awards or whatever. And since I'm not a voter, Erica has a better feel on how the voters think on this kind of thing. But I think
I wish I did, honestly. Yeah. It would be great if voters just closed their voting. I do.
Yeah,
I do.
It would be helpful.
But that's a story for another day. We're gonna put that in the parking lot. So I want to get to this though, because we keep going back and forth. Is this a front office thing? Is it a coaching thing? Is it both? So what needs to change? Because I think we agree, Brian, right? The stock is so down for Betnijah, and I honestly don't think it's Betnijah's fault. And I wonder, is it artificially down? I would say, or arbitrarily down. I would say yes. We talked about the DNPs, but if that's not happening, if the coach is doing that and that's not what the front office does, do you see the front office firing the coach mid-season?
No. I'm super quick on that. Like, not a chance in the world, unless something like insane happens in the next whatever amount of time that just sort of like falls out of the sky. I don't think so. And I think it's a situation where you don't want to. I hesitate to always be like, you don't want a situation where you're constantly changing head coaches. That's partially why it took Phoenix so long to get back to where they were after they got rid of Sandy in 2021. Like they brought
Wait, a team got rid of Sandy Brondello and then had difficulty getting back to the playoffs? What? It's almost like she's one of the better coaches in the WNBA.
Yeah, Phoenix's context was so different because like that it was the whole Beachy thing with Russia in 2022 where that happened.
I mean, that was an extreme and an outlier, and I'm not sure that it was honestly that different. If you know what you know about Diana Taurasi and then you put together things that have been heard, I think it's probably more extreme. I mean, Diana Taurasi is more extreme than anybody on the New York Liberty, and that's not even, you know.
And that roster was worse than this roster. And then they fire the first head coach. They bring in an interim. They get rid of her.
An inexperienced interim. Or excuse me, not an inexperienced interim. They have the interim, and then they hire not the interim, but an inexperienced first-time head coach who then went on and had the audacity to say there might be an event happening for All-Star, but since Diana Taurasi isn't there, you can't call it an All-Star game. The same season that one of her active players went by the name at the time of Skylar Diggins-Smith was an All-Star. So apparently All-Star games don't exist unless Diana Taurasi is there.
Yep. Got rid of that coach, brought in the interim, got rid of the interim, got sued for it later. Then they bring in their current head coach. First year's kind of rough. Then last year it hits. They get to the final. Now they lose Satu. The roster doesn't improve to make up for her absence, and now they're kicking it with the rebuilding Seattle Storm, and they're not trying to rebuild at all. So
is that what we want? Is that what the New York Liberty wants? I'm not saying it is going to happen, but I mean, it's a little eerie how similar, if you really want to, pull those through lines, you could pull the through lines. I mean, I think it's and it's for the same reasons that honestly a trade for the New York Liberty is unlikely. I do think that something has to happen, but if you're not going to trade, and why do I say not going to trade? It was, we talked about this on a previous episode, uncharacteristic for I almost said Seattle Storm, uncharacteristic for the New York Liberty to even make a mid-season trade. They're not known for doing that. They don't do it. They might add a player like they did it with Emma Messaman, and they've done that before because they keep their roster lean. But maybe that goes back to what I have been saying with regard to the coaching staff. If you have a plan in October, November, December, and that plan has yet to bear significant fruit by July, when is it the right time to move away from the first option? And I don't know if that's what's happening, but there's a rigidity. There seems to be, it's how I feel about the New York Metropolitans, honestly. I say this about the Mets all the time. They get talent too early or too late. Am I wrong? I know I'm not wrong. We get talent too how many World Series does Justin Red Turner have these days?
Yeah, like 3. Some wild number.
And all after the Mets discarded him. Yeah. Like a dirty shirt.
He hit 300.
Didn't they bring the two-tone pitcher and Justin Verlander?
Okay. I was like, wait, what? Okay. I got you. All right.
Yes.
All right, Max. So I'm like, wait, what? Okay.
Weren't they both on the same staff? Are you kidding me?
They were. They were.
How do you have those two pitchers on the same staff and you still can't win?
With Jake. Yep, Jake was there too. And then yeah, I know.
Don't get me started with Thor.
Oh boy. He's in a bad place right now, buddy. Let me tell you what.
Thor, Batman, got rid of all of them. He was these days. I don't even care to know what that man is doing. But that's baseball for you. Unfortunately. That's baseball. So what happens if it's not going to be a trade? seems uncharacteristic for the New York Liberty, and the trade piece, if it's Betnijah Laney-Hamilton still, that's not going to work. I saw other people talking about Marine Johannes. I said it earlier. I'm not saying it because I like it, but if everything else is so immovable, and something needs to change, and you're not going to change your coach, and you're not going to change your front office, even though we've seen that happen mid-season, even this season in some instances. If you're not going to do that, then you're messing around with the longevity of a player like Marine Johannes, like Rebecca Gardner. You're messing around with the longevity of them in with this franchise.
Yeah. And it's a situation where if no changes are to be made, the only way through it is to go through it. That's hi Chris KJ. That's a big old can of worms, and I wish Lucas were here because Lucas could tell you things about he's seen that. Wash. Hello, first of all, they're quickly using their identity. Quickly losing their identity, something they said they have a problem with. Big difference. It's a crisis. Maybe, but I'd love for you to tell me more on how you think they're losing their identity, because I can kind of get in the. Maybe. I don't think I'm there. I'd love for you to tell me. Okay, let me see.
Yeah, you don't have to read everyone. We're just getting through them here. We're going to start closing on, not them Nygaard vibes. Ronnie was picking up what we were putting down. Ooh, them Nygaard vibes. Ooh, and it's like, dang, man, why y'all try to play Sandy to her face? And we got to talk about Sandy Brondello. I'm a recap what I said on We Need to Talk Now. But why y'all be playing Sandy Brondello to her face? Why y'all do that? You did not renew her contract because she couldn't get this team across the finish line. And now, and you know what? And Damien, I know, has been pressing us to give an answer here. I'm going to remix what Damien has here. I can't tell right now if this season is going to be a failure. In reality, do I think they're going to do a Las Vegas Aces air quote for our audio listeners? Hey, audio listeners, we know you're there. And if you're still there, thank you, because it's been a marathon, as most of our shows are. We appreciate you. If what Sandy did was enough to make a head coaching change, or didn't do for that matter, and that is losing out in the first round, to me, you have to get beyond what the last coach did for it to be a success. When you're a team like the New York Liberty, the Seattle Storm are not going to make the playoffs, and it's not the same criteria. But for the New York Liberty, I will tell you right now, this team not making the playoffs, epic fail. And we're as close as I never could fathom that seeing this roster on paper would be as close to not making the playoffs as they feel to me right now. Wouldn't 6, maybe. Teetering on 6th and 7th, maybe. But and for like a week, and maybe even early, but this late in that is uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Making the playoffs, this team might make the playoffs. Are they getting through the first round? I don't see it. So then how is this better? And if it's not better, then why were you telling us it's win or bust? Mm-hmm. Because if it's not win or bust, then why didn't you just say that? But y'all are doing things like it's one thing, but the actions that we're seeing are indicative of a different, and you know who had that problem for at least 2 seasons, and arguably since Brianna Stewart left? Seattle.
Yep. That's what, like, I remember, Erica, you spent a lot of time in 2024 being like, hey, this isn't, something's up. And then something was really up, and then it was all kind of chaos after the fact. So you gotta, and that's where I feel for an organization you have to be very careful, because you can still get to where you need to be, but it's still early enough, but not early, if that makes sense. Like if they're in the 7th seed in like May, no one cares because it's May. Now you're closer to the end than you are the beginning, and it's a situation where you want to start stacking wins, and you want to really
put them up with a woof.
yeah,
Woof. If you know that reference, put them up with a woof and a woof. Woo! Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think what would ease a lot of tension is you want to start stacking wins, and you want to like similar to like last night where you executed down the stretch. You want to have those games when it's close again where you execute well, because they've had so many games that just gave away with bad execution, bad mistakes. The LA game is one. Dallas, the game against Washington is another. Toronto, another. Some Minnesota, another, where they couldn't get rebounds. Like there are so many things. There are so many games where if they execute to the standard that I hold them to, instead of 14-12, they're at least 18-8, probably higher. And then everything. The past 2 hours is a lot different if they executed and did their work early on. So now you're not.
We'll get to that in a minute, Brian. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So now if you did your work early and executed the way you're supposed to, you would have a lot more breathing room, and it wouldn't. And I think the fan base wouldn't feel as tense as it does now, because I try not to like overly think on social media reactions too much. I'm like, okay, it's built for this, built for this, built for this. But it's like you see enough people saying it, and even here, it's like, okay, the feeling is what it is. And I've said it here before, that building, the Barclays Center, gets nervous. Like fans get nervous, they get down by a few points, that building starts to murmur, and everyone gets shook, and it's sometimes hard to break out of it. And losing in the ways that they have just adds more stress and tension to a fan base and a team that always feels on the razor's edge of feeling like things are about to sort of fall apart. So now that you're in a rut and you're trying to sort of like fight your way out of it, it's something where you got to do your stuff early on. Like you get up by 15, it's 5 possessions, and 5 possessions is different in 2026 than what it was in 2022, but still you're up a large amount. You have most nights you have the talent advantage. So
right.
You got to be able to just lock it down.
Exactly. And here's the thing, is this window closing a lot faster than we think? Because Ronnie's saying Libertyville, are we spoiled to this point? I hear we don't, what we don't and what we need, and what all the top teams got in order to get the dogs, big name players come out of college. Lottery with at least 5 exclamation points. I think it might be 6. But anyway, here's the thing though. Again, if it's a hybrid rebuild, and I clown Jonathan Kolb on that all the time, and part of the reason I clowned him on that is because what does that mean even? Define it. I want to be real about what is expected. And it seems, I felt this way going into the season, and it seems evidently clear now that championship window or bust is a high bar to set for this coaching staff.
The reason why,
and if that's what you're telling us, if it's championship or bust, if the New York Liberty do not win, what is this organization going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because now you've blown the window two time. But if it wasn't supposed to be that, then why didn't you just say that? Because if it's like, listen, we're going to do that hybrid rebuild, I'd still be mad. But at least you were upfront with it. But this team, again, hasn't lost enough in the last 3 seasons to be a lottery team. So if you're talking about building through the lottery, then the losing has to start now.
That ain't happening.
So how can you be championship or bust and also try to be a lottery team? The only way you can even get a lottery pick is if you do some Jedi ninja stuff like Washington has done, like Dallas has done for what feels like a decade. Do not follow Chicago. Do not, because a lot of what we're talking about, a lot of people have picks because of Chicago. Minnesota. I know I said this and I yelled about it earlier. I'm gonna try it. Let me calm down. Minnesota has Olivia Miles at the number 2 pick because they made a trade that ended up acquiring Chicago's lottery pick. If we have already established that the New York Liberty, at least if history is any indicator, are not likely to make a mid-season trade, then how, pray tell, are they going to realistically do anything this season that moves the needle towards this season being a true championship or bust? I guess the only option is to win 16 games straight. Because if everything else is off the table, then all you got to do is just win games. Just win games. Just win games. Cool, tight. And I'm all about it. Listen, I forget what year it was, but when the Boston Red Sox were like, don't let us win one. Don't let us win one. It was 04?
Yep.
Don't let us win one. I just know because I'm a Yankee hater. Don't let us win one. You know what? But they were talking that. They had the expertise. The manager out there that Justin Red Turner won two championships with was stealing bases. Who's going to be stealing bases for the New York Liberty? Who's going to bloody their sock for the New York Liberty? Who's going to say, don't let us win one, down 3, don't let us win one, because then we going to win all 4? I think that's what Stewie was trying to say. That's why Stewie took responsibility. That's why Stewie did what she did. Because Stewie, if anybody else has any other thoughts, Stewie is the only person right now who I believe when they tell me that they believe this team is championship or bust and is playing like it. And it burns my dang grits because of how people think about voting, that not only are we potentially wasting an amazing season for Breanna Stewart and we won't see her make a playoff run, but also because people are so obsessed with best player, best team, she's also not going to have a real chance at MVP. And I'm mad at whoever's responsible for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mad at y'all because it feels like 2016 Tina Charles all over again.
Good pull there. Good pull.
And you can talk, it's the coach, it's Jonathan Kolb. You can talk, it's Chris DeMarco. You can talk, it's the size. Riddle me this. How have multiple coaching staffs, multiple different GMs, and now 2 owners and a move to Brooklyn? Why is this the MO of the New York Liberty? I pulled it back to 16. We have had Cappy Pondexter, Swin Cash, Teresa Weatherspoon. Who else? Katie Smith. Too early, too late, in my opinion. Both as a player and a coach. How you do it as a player and a coach for the same person? Too late as a player, too early as a coach. How is this the MO regardless of the ownership, regardless of the front office, and regardless of the coach? So when I tell y'all I'm mad, this goes back. They playing like a real New York team and it's burning my grits. And not the one that I can't stand. Like the ones I root for. So I'm mad at myself because I done mushed another team. I don't root for the Knicks. I don't root for the Yankees. I don't root for no football / also American football or football. I root for them. I root for the Mets, and I grew up rooting for the Liberty, and y'all are pissing me off. Because why is it always the same? Like, Damn, why are you reading me for filth and my choices? Why are you telling me I have a type? Why are you telling me it's me? Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to me? Y'all pissing me off. Pissing me off. Go ahead, Brian. I don't even know what else to say. I'm so mad, and you laughing because you know exactly what I'm talking about. I know that you know what I'm like to your core. I know that you know what I know.
Every year I say to myself, this is the last time you're gonna hurt me, and then the next day me and my clown suit are locked into the game every night. Oh, look, I'm like, hey, we gonna win today. We gonna win today. And then nope. It's Braves up 10-3. And then it's it's a grand slam 14-3. And then what happens next day? My happy behind is right back watching the game on SNY. Because I'm like, no. We gonna do it today. It don't be happening today, but we're gonna do it tomorrow. It don't be happening tomorrow. I'm gonna be back though. Be back, still here. And then your girl, the gray hairs grow exponentially for me. And it's like, oh look, I'm silver haired now.
Thank you. I'm so tired, y'all. I'm exhausted right now. I still got to pack. I got an early flight to get my hair done. I done already talked about why the curls are packed away. Thank you, man. Because what do you mean? What do you mean? And I try to teeter on journalist versus fan, but nah, man, y'all pissed me off. Y'all triggered me. Y'all triggered me, man. Not y'all watching, but the y'all that is all of the I don't know who's responsible at this point, because like I said, it goes back decades. At this point, I don't know who to blame, but whoever you are, if I find you, I'm going to knock your quarter water out of your damn hands. I'm going to make sure you put sugar on your damn pizza. We have beef. We have beef. And if it's James Dolan, I'm going to enjoy that butt whipping.
It's always him. It's always him. It's always the guitar man.
He probably got a hex. Where is the straw doll? Someone look under that man's bed, because something ain't right. Listen. Okay, listen. Now y'all reading me in the comments.
Hey.
At least they're lovable losers. Best mascot in the game on both counts. Because if you I don't care about no fanatic, whatever Gritty is.
Get him out of here. Get him out.
It's Mr. and Mrs. Met for life.
Right.
And now Ellie. I don't mess with mascots otherwise.
Yeah. That's where,
Damn.
I've said it on here before. I'm a pro mascot person. I am very much me and my island next to Mr. and Mrs. Met. I'm like, everyone else, y'all cool, but I could pull up, it's me.
Listen, at this point, as a matter of fact, hold on, because I just read it. It's funny you mentioned the 69 Mets, because I have a canvas with the 69 Mets, and it has my 2015 championship pin.
Oh, cool.
Or no, that was 20. Was it? Sorry, the pennant, because they did not win. Kansas City. Oh, baby. That was 16
15
or 15. Yeah. Damn. Why? Oh, I know, man. I know. Oh, I don't even know. I need a minute. I need a minute.
My pain relates so much because we all have pain. We all do.
Oh my gosh.
You haven't lived until your favorite team breaks your heart in the playoffs, and then you watch it and you're like, oh no, I can't believe it. We all been there.
This is wild. I was being very dramatic, and I'm not wrong. Ask Colv and the front office why they're not who knows? But also, they're not going to be completely transparent. But Erica is right. Thank you, Damien. I will take that. 2016 is reborn, and it's 10 years, and Charles had to... You see see what I mean? We've seen this movie before.
Boy,
and see, we've seen this movie before. The Mets spend the most money in sports and still lose. I'm sorry. Last I checked, the New York Liberty are one of the highest valuation WNBA.
Not too much, Kamal. Please.
Why?
Why? Not too much, friend. Not too much.
Come on, man. Gonna have a brand new facility in 2028, and who's gonna be there? Oh, I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. I don't know where or how I thought this was going to end, but I promise you, I thought I was going to feel better than I do right now. I thought I was going to, and I've been yelling for 2 hours and almost 20 minutes or 30 minutes straight. And I promise I thought I was going to feel better than I do right now. The fact that that's where, oh my Lord, oh my Jesus, please. Oh my Lord.
This is where, let's remember some folks, goes wrong.
Oh my goodness.
You want to remember, folks? I don't. Oh, hey, let's talk about Brian Jordan. No, thank you. I don't want to do that. How about Marcus Giles and Larry Jones and the rest of them? No, thank you. I don't think I will.
Oh my God.
Oh, let's think about when players didn't get MVP awards that they probably should have got.
I mean, it's the same thing. Like, how does this keep happening? Because again, it can't logically be just one gene. Like, what is the juju? What is happening? Listen, Kyrie, what you do, man? What you do to that building, man?
Oh boy.
Kyrie, what you do? What you do, man? What you do, man? See, he's like, it's bigger than just me. This energy here ain't good. Dang, man.
They go figure
felt
it
that
out.
Dolan energy and was like, skirt.
And also Z Diddy, to your point, I think the 3 for 20, what was encouraging about it is it was a lot of drives, and which I think is what you need. And I think finding the mix of knowing when to drive, finishing after him the way she needs to, and taking those floaters. So she hasn't done as much of it compared to last year, because like last year she did it too much, where it's like she was really good with the floaters, and it's like
I think it's the first floater that I can recall seeing. We saw, I think it was last night.
Yeah,
I don't even, and that was her money maker when she was healthy last season, and she had to carry the team, remember, for a while because of the injuries, and then she got injured. You know, like it's not adding up. It's not holding water.
And to Stephen Am's point, firstly, hi. I think this is where this is, because like when we talk, like Chris was like nice to talk to, like he's fun, like he's cool, like he's engaging with us. But I think I think it's so different because Sandy is Sandy, and Sandy has a great story. She tells us like she's been in the W since '98, so she can if she wanted to write like a book about the evolution of WNBA from like a player to somewhat executive to coach, like she can write it and be very credible as she walks through the entire evolution of where the league was, where she came in. She'll give you some Miami small stories. Like it's, oh, hey, I was in the Silver Stars for a little bit. She can give you a lot of fun on the Storm as well too. I think she played with Sue one year. Like a lot of fun stories she can tell. So it's always different when it's someone who's completely new to the space and it's like you don't know him like that. So I think it's a different kind of thing for Chris, but I think Chris is fine in his own way. Like I think once he locks in, like because I feel like he's nice. Like we talk to him all the time.
Yeah, so but he doesn't have the personality of Sandy. I wish he took more accountability and responsibility. At times, and I don't know if that's a NBA thing that doesn't translate well in the WNBA. Is it a direct comp because we had Sandy, who is just a great person to talk to? I don't really know. But we are going to close this. I also didn't think we were going to close on this. But speaking of Sandy Brondello, I would be remiss if we didn't mention that Sandy Brondello, on a side of the interwebs, and quite honestly culture, that I did not expect. just knowing what I know about Sandy. And I will tell you what I said on CBS and what I would say to Sandy if I were given the opportunity. And honestly, if she'd be open to it, I would have this conversation. I don't it's not like we talk on the phone, or I would have any reasonable expectation that I would get a chance to talk to her about this, in a more private setting as opposed to an interview setting. But just to catch up and to be explicit, Sandy Brondello was heard during the Toronto Atlanta game, referring to Angel Reese in what my understanding is an Australian term that's used often, but the wording and the phrase is protected species. Mm-hmm. And that was taken to effectively be calling and referring to Angel Reese as effectively an animal, because what are protected? I mean, I guess it could be a plant if we're being honest, but the term and how it's used, and how it translates in the United States, it translates more to comparing a human and a Black woman more specifically to an animal. There's a lot, and I don't want to really get into the intricacies because I think historically there is a lot more nuance that can be offered. Not that it excuses anything, but again, I think nuance and context is important. But putting that to the side for now, what we do know is that Angel Reese was offended by it, and the comments were directed to Angel Reese. What we also know is Sandy Brondello released a public statement the very next day. She also privately reached out to Atlanta, and Carl Semesco confirmed this. The Atlanta Dream heard from Sandy Brondello within the first 24 hours of the hot mic issue, or not really a hot mic because mics are on all the time at where were they? They're in Toronto. They're at arenas, there's mics all the time. So I don't want to use the term hot mic. It gives, I feel like it leans a little more into like accident, or like some kind of fluke. If you say something like that in an arena with so many mics, I don't know why you would have a reasonable expectation that it wouldn't be picked up. Anyway, so Angel then commented that she appreciated Sandy's apology. She appreciated the people reaching out in support. She alluded to perhaps also, which is not surprising if you know Angel Reese and unfortunately her history since college, she kind of alluded to, but did not stick on, that she likely was getting comments that were less than supportive. And again, this was directly tied to, again, things that are racially charged and perpetuate racism as we know it in the United States. This is what I want to say. So that's all. Those are all facts. I gave you all facts. My thoughts on this. Glad Sandy apologized, and both in her apology and in her statements on camera after the written apology, I felt that Sandy fell just short of some accountability that I think is important in situations like this. Sandy has said things to the effect of, well, in Australia, we say this. She said, I will keep my Australianisms out of the WNBA. To me, that is a reaction to this environment not appreciating the statement and a commitment to not say those things in the WNBA, but maybe not a commitment to not saying them at all. And I think that's important because not from Australia, never been to Australia. And just because someone has said something for a long time, and as far as they know, it hasn't been a problem, doesn't mean it's not problematic. I'll give an example. And I'm not going to say the phrase because since this was brought to my attention, I don't say this phrase anymore. But I think I was talking about Sammy Whitcomb and wanted to compliment Sammy and something that Sammy did that I found funny and very relatable. And so I used a phrase that at the time I found very common. It meant something very particular and also was known to be a joke. someone reached out to me privately and said, where I come from and in my culture, this is a spiritual thing. We don't use that term in this manner, and it's seen as disrespectful to use that term outside of our spiritual context. And I will be honest, my first reaction, and I said this on CBS Sports, or excuse me, on We Need to Talk Now, my first reaction was like, did y'all just, am I being called a racist? I'm not a racist. What, how could anyone think that I'm racist? These are things that ran through my head as I'm reading this comment. Like, I'm the least racist person in the world. And then I heard my thoughts and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, that's how this happens. I'm not saying this to like pat on the back. I'm saying that I have professionally done work where I am teaching and advocating for anti-racism in professional settings. Mm-hmm. So I have a level of exposure that is different than most people. And even with that exposure, my emotions in my head, I don't even think I verbalize them to myself out loud, but I remember vividly having these thoughts in my head. And I'm someone who has actively done anti-racism work. So this is my lesson. If I'm capable of having those thoughts, most people probably are. Someone is making me feel ashamed. Someone is taking what I said out of context and equating it to racism. I'm not a bad person. I know Black people or whatever, whatever. I know gay people. It wasn't really, I'm not going to repeat the phrase. So you can ask, but I'm just not going to tell you because I've committed to not saying this phrase anymore because I'm not of this culture. And it was easy enough. Once I stepped out of my emotion and I remembered what I have committed myself to, I said to that person, thank you for reaching out. Thank you for explaining this. I will never say this again. That's all that I said. I thanked them. I apologized. But I made sure to not if you were hurt or if this came, I was like, thank you for reaching out. Thank you for explaining this. I'm sorry. I won't do it again.
It won't happen again.
Sandy was as close as most white people get to being to really pushing the needle. And because I have high esteem for Sandy Brondello, I personally would have liked her to go a little bit further. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to be honest. I don't feel that this makes Sandy a bad person. And I do feel that there is still work that Sandy and all of us can still do.
Yeah. Like I remember like when I first saw, because like I wasn't watching the game when it happened, and then I saw like reactions. I'm like, oh, what's happening here? What's the deal here? And I was like, first I saw what was said. I'm like, let me see what it hit for. And then I saw someone like explain what it was. And then I'm like, okay, I get it. But then I always have to remember in moments like this, I'm not the person who was being dissed in the moment. It's the person who was offended. And that's the feeling that matters the most. And the player who was offended is pissed. And I'd say rightfully so. Like, you're being insulted by an opposing coach, someone with a lot of like credibility and someone who has been in the league a long time. You're being insulted and you're being disrespected. And it's one of those things where the person who's offended has the right to feel offended. And I think, because sometimes what happens a lot is where it's like, oh, you shouldn't take this big deal kind of thing. But it's like I'm not the one that was being criticized and insulted in that moment. And the person who's on the receiving end, they can feel that way. Keep that for me. Yeah. I think that it's a situation where like the person who's offended, I'm like, you can feel how you want and however you feel is valid. Yeah. If he was 100%. Like, whatever, I don't care, that's valid. If you're pissed off, that's valid. And then she was pissed, which I think understandable because it's, hey, someone's insulting you. And then Sandy, I think to her credit, was like, oh shit, I messed up unequivocally. Like I fucked up. Yeah. It was bad. Yeah. I'm really sorry. It won't happen again. And then reaching out to Angel and the organization and people that are representing her as far as like the team goes, I think that's a good bridging step, and I think it's something that's commendable, because a lot of times like stuff happens, it's just, oh, I'll get around to it. Because like my first thought is like, oh, because I feel like when I've pissed people off, sometimes I'm like, if I see you, we'll talk about it. But it's better to just like actually be direct and like just like get to it now. Like, don't
exactly.
Yeah, just get to it, because tomorrow may never come. This isn't lingering in the air. Best to communicate and get to it now, and it's good that she did that. Yep. I'm still, initially when I saw she got suspended, I was like, why? Just be like, hey, cut it out. But then I remember the context of Kurt insulting Liz, and like, well, that he wasn't necessarily. So he was complaining about Liz in the game, and then he's like, she's like 300 pounds. It's like, hey, dude, what are you doing? And then he got suspended for that, and then he had to apologize. So it's like the precedent is there for a coach saying something that offends a player in that way, and then there being a consequence for it. I'm still trying to like work my thoughts out on this.
Yeah.
But the precedent is there.
I think a lot of people are. I'm just trying to get some clarification here with this particular person. Does anyone get the benefit of the doubt after 30 years in the league? Yes, a lot of people get the benefit of the doubt after 30 years anywhere. And sometimes that's appropriate and sometimes it's not, which is the conversation that we're having right now. Has anyone suspended you for a podcast for making an honest mistake? If you're asking me that question sincerely, then no, I haven't been suspended from a podcast. That doesn't mean I haven't made mistakes. And people who watch this podcast regularly know there are times where I regulate what happens in our comments unapologetically. Mm-hmm. There's just certain things that will not be tolerated, period. Mm-hmm. And those people have been removed, and in one instance have come back and have apologized and are still part of our community. In another instance, they didn't. And that we went two separate ways. But there's a difference between making a mistake and being held accountable for that mistake and remaining in a community. Yeah. Which is what I expect will happen with Sandy Brondello. Like I said, and this second part, I'm not sure what the intent is, but I will react. Sandy reached out immediately, but not to your liking. Wow. I don't know what the wow is, but I did. Well, hold on. I did say that Sandy reached out immediately. I did say that I appreciated that Sandy reached out immediately. And I did say that if I were to talk to Sandy, I would encourage her to go a step further. That's what I said. Yeah. I mean, I am okay with how everything ended, to Brian's point, because I'm not directly involved. And I shared my personal experience in why I would like someone who has been for 30 plus years in women's basketball, one of the best examples of women's basketball, to go a step further. And you know what? I could be reading this wrong, but from what I know about Sandy Brondello, I think she'd be open to that conversation, which is why I'm expressing that I'm also open to that conversation. I don't feel any need to villainize any party involved here.
Yeah. And just to sort of like stay on it a little bit more, I think it's because I feel like I don't like speaking for Erica, but I think I will on this instance. I think it's a situation where I don't think that either of us are like villainizing it. Like I feel like we're not sort of like casting a negative aspersion on Sandy and what she is. Like, we know her, like we've worked with her for years. Like, she sees us as it's a good time. Like, she's great, she's friendly, she's all these good things. I think just because someone can have a fuck up doesn't make them a sort of villain. And I think I want to stress that for us, where it's like we're not saying Sandy is some sort of villain of the day for having a situation where she says something and a player gets offended and then there's a consequence behind it. I think we're just saying that, oh, hey, it's a thing you said. It's a thing that offended somebody. And then because the offense was taken and it was very strong offense. And I think it's a situation where you look at it, it's like, oh shit, even if I didn't mean it that way, it still came off a way that's really harsh and strong. And it's like, okay, you know what? I kind of stepped in a little bit, and that's okay. Like we
Yeah,
all do,
100%,
and I
100%.
think
And okay, they're saying, okay, talking about the mistake. So, okay, I'm glad that we cleared that up because I just wanted to,
yeah,
express that this is a conversation, or
yeah,
it has the potential to be a conversation. Excuse me, my goodness. And I think now to this point, it having a conversation makes for a repairing any harm that was done to the community.
yeah, yeah, and it's like I think the point you make, Bentas. No, you're Gucci, don't worry. And I think that it's a situation where it helps to talk about it because I could say something else like, and then someone's be like, "Hey, B, that like how you thinking about it, how you communicate it? Let's talk about it." And I'm like, you know what?
Exactly.
And it's one of those things where I'm like, a lot of times I'm just like whatever to a lot of stuff, but it's like if someone that I know and someone I've been in a community will say, "Hey, let me put you to the side, brother. Come on, let's talk real quick." I'm like, okay, I'll
Yeah.
take it in mind, and then I'll listen, and then it's like, okay, I get it. I'll see how I can incorporate what you're telling me, and so my workflow, what I'm doing, it's like, cool, I got you.
Yeah.
And I think keeping the open line part to your point and to Bentas' point, I hope I pronounced that wrong. If not, my bad. But I think the communication piece there is the important part, and I think that's where Sandy being in the league for so long comes into play because you've been in the space a long time. You've been with folks from various backgrounds, and you've seen a lot of different dynamics evolve and grow over time. And I think it's one of those things where it's like, okay, cool. I've been in this community a long time, and I've been in the community that I hold in really high regard, and I've
Yep.
been there, and I've worked with so many people, and it's so many things like that. And people say, okay, cool. Let me, someone say, hey, let me talk to you right quick, and that's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think the communication piece is helpful, and I think the conversation within community is meaningful, and I think that's the biggest takeaway for me. I don't being sent home from work sucks. Like it's never a good
Yeah.
thing, but it's one of those things. You're like, okay, when I come back, let's see how things evolve and grow from here. That part matters a lot to me, and I think that part matters from what I've known of Sandy for 5 years now, like 4 years here with us in New York, and then now when she comes in town with Toronto, like the 5 years I've known Sandy, I think that matters a lot to her, and it's something she's open to. So I think the line of communication that we're all sort of like coming together with is the most important part. And I would say also this is where I feel like I'm going to venture a little bit on a different path here, but stay with me. I think this is a situation where I feel sometimes the league is online and overly online in some respects, and I feel like now it's like, hey, let's have a conversation like together kind of thing, and not where it's I'm gonna be on socials and then it's gonna blow up. It's like, hey, I had a fuck up. I accept it. This is what happens. I want to talk to the person I offended, and we have the sort of in person aspect of it, and not the I did this. I'm gonna post this and that. It's better to just like have the conversation with someone about it, as compared to letting the swirl of social media just like build it up and really sort of like make you more defensive. Because when you hear someone you don't know and people you've never encountered being like, you're this demon, or this player is a softie for this, and it's like, no, like we don't need to like partake in that. And that's where the conversation comes in, where it's like two people who care about the league and care about building positive relationships with the people they encounter. Like you do that, you sort of like build that bridge accordingly, and you make it to where you drown out the noise from all the external noise, and the noise that can sort of amplify and make things a lot more fraught and difficult and challenging. So I think that's where calling someone directly is like, hey, I did that, great. We didn't get to have that much time, because no, you're busy, I'm busy, we have a lot in our lives to deal with, but we have that line of communication, and then now we can sort of like move together and then just sort of like build out a proper bridge from there.
Yeah, and I agree, with this comment here saying, I know about Aboriginal history, and honestly, global history is to know that Black and brown bodies are policed, and many other more heinous things historically. I mean, that came up during the World Cup, and everyone talking about Argentina, and it's like, I guess we'll root for Spain, but they have their own things, and so that's very much a part of history anywhere. And that's also why I felt like my experience and sharing my experience could help people understand why, including perhaps Sandy, why, okay, you've apologized for using it in this context. And is it something that is worth hanging on to because of your culture? Think flags hanging above state buildings in South Carolina. Or is it something because someone in a community that you respect, that you've helped to curate, has said that this is unacceptable and this is hurtful? Is that enough for you to let go of something, even if it's been long held, even if where you come from, it's not a big deal? And this might be more anecdotal than anything. I've never been to Australia, but I was watching Tracy Ellis Ross. She has season 2 of her solo traveling thing on Roku, and she goes to is it Melbourne or Melbourne? Because I know it's Jade Melbourne, but is it Melbourne as a city, or is it Melbourne? She goes to Australia.
Yeah.
And she loved it. She loved the food. She loves fashion, and she had a good time there, and she did surfing lessons. And then she's sitting and reflecting, and she said, but there are not a lot of Black people here. And it was jarring. It was an experience like none other that she'd ever experienced. And this is someone who went to school. She went to school in Switzerland. So, but for her to experience the level of homogeny that she felt she did in Melbourne, I found interesting. And it was an observation, not an indictment. But it made me wonder, when you have perhaps that homogeny, right? And I don't know if it's in all of Australia, or, again, history being what it is, if it's been perpetuated to be that now, then if we don't share that, then does it just become a thing that's wrong in the United States and then is perpetuated in Australia and elsewhere? And to me, I feel like, again, in this situation, not just Sandy Brondello, but all of us can go further than that.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's got me thinking of, I remember one time I saw someone reach out and they're like, hey, love your stuff, but can we not call athletes dogs? And I found that really interesting. And at the time, I took the comment in, but it's like, oh, so-and-so is a dog. Like, they play like a dog.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about that conversation, because in the moment, culturally, it was easy for me to kind of dismiss that, because also I perceived the person saying that being from outside of, my culture. But now I'm literally having this thought out loud with y'all right now. But now I'm like, is that something that I can let go of? Is it important for me to have to say that? Or can I find another way to express that I feel that someone brings a lot of grit and sandpaper and much needed energy? And there you go. I just did it. And so that was, it's an ongoing process. And I've been using this phrase: if you're committed to anti-racism, you're committed to a lifestyle, not a destination.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is Melbourne. Okay. Yes.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Yay. Thank you, Swung Over.
Okay. Yes. I did know a little bit about Tasmania. I know about Aboriginal just in general. And again, the displacement, I don't want to say relocation, but displacement. And there are similarities, but also specific things. So it's not something I'm as familiar with as compared to like South Africa, where I actually did an analysis on that. I know the Caribbean because my family is from there. So there are blind spots here for me as well. And if it is something that is translatable, I just wanted to offer that anecdote to push the conversation even further, because maybe Sandy will, maybe she won't, and I don't know what the right answer is. I just know what I chose.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think definitely communication always matters. It's a situation where, hey, like the more you talk, the more you learn, the more you sort of like apply to your daily living, and it's always a good thing. It's like, oh, I didn't think about it this way. Thank you for letting me know. It's kind of thing. Like it never hurts. Yeah, it never hurts to talk to someone that you trust and respect and care for. It's always a good thing.
Exactly, and I think that's also what's happening here, or at least that's how Sandy has expressed how she feels. She's like, Angel hasn't gotten to get to know me very well.
Yeah.
And, I could see it also just knowing what I think I know about Sandy Rondello. The fact that Angel responded on social media, and I'm not here to litigate it, but there was a response by Angel on social media. And when I saw the response and I saw it was about Sandy, I was kind of like, whoa.
That's kind of, whoa, what happened here?
Yeah. Would I have done it? No, but Angel did. And the comment was made towards Angel.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw that, whether it's right or wrong, I was like, oh yeah, Angel probably doesn't know Sandy Rondello very well, because at least in my mind, Sandy's the kind of person that if you had a problem with her, you could go to and talk to her about it. Mm-hmm. And if Angel doesn't know that, that's not Angel's fault. Why would she? Right?
Yeah.
It's not her coach or anything. And so I think, Angel responded the way she did, and she accepted what she was made privy to and where the conversation and exchange did go. And I think that's fine. Yeah. I think I get the sense that Sandy wants to have a conversation with Angel, but that's on Angel to decide if she wants to do or not. And and it might not happen. And that's okay too.
Yeah. And that's the part of life where it's okay. I took accountability and I'd like to extend the bridge, but if the other person doesn't want to extend the bridge, that's okay too. And then you just sort of like figure out and then move on and advance and go from there. So it's always sort of like flexible, and there's always a lot of like different terms too. And ICD, I think it could be, and it's also, from what I understand, it's like frustration in the moment. Trust takes a while to build. And
I don't think they know each other, just to be honest.
It's like Angel was popular here, but like you don't really know people like that. And like if you're not in the same circle, there's never gonna be a chance to like know someone. Like I can know, like I'll use myself as an example. Like I can be in like community with like a lot of writers, but if I don't know you like in person, I can't just be like, hey, what's up? Like I have to know you first to do that. Like people who come in, it's like I know them, but some folks I don't know, and that's okay. So it's a matter of the circles you run in, the circles I run in, it's different, and communication is different that way too. And it takes time to get to that. It takes time
100%. 100%. So, I mean, I didn't want to leave this 3-hour plus conversation without mentioning that, especially since Sandy was mentioned, and obviously Sandy has been a coach here. I've talked about it more not intentionally, but I've talked about it more other places. So if you want to check that out, and I mean that I'm not trying to do a hard sell here. I just know that the space in the conversation was a little different. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think this is also why I created Black Rosie Media, because I want us to be able to have these conversations. And for me, even to be like, oh, I read this and I don't know, I'm taking this kind of way in the comment. And I do that a lot. Sometimes I'm a little more punchy. And then Brian's like, no, hey, check the emoji. It's cool. Because things do get lost in translation as well. So, but we always want to hold space for that and draw the line when it's harm to the community. Like, I'm still trying to figure out, honestly, how I feel about dog and how it's used. But there are things that are clear that we draw a line and we communicate that. So to be continued, and it's just unfortunate that it happened so close to, the situation that happened with Chelsea Gray and how that has been perpetuated. Yes.
I want to end this on a lighter note. Do you know who we need to have this conversation with, where we can get their perspective on the important matters of the day?
Who's that?
Kathy Engelbert.
Oh Jesus! I'm gonna Do you like I do, Roberta? Take you off the screen, Brian, for that one. Not the hard transition to Kathy after everything we just said, and this man wants to bring up Kathy? Come on, man. Come on, Brian. I can't wait to tell Roberta that I took you off the screen. For those who don't watch our other show, I often, in a loving and joking way, because Brian is backstage cracking up, but I will take Roberta off the screen when she makes me mad. And she knows how to make me mad, which is why I do it. I was like, don't tell other people how to piss me off, Roberta. Those are secrets. Do not expose me in that way. Dang, Brian, man. Listen. Right before All-Star, he's like, I'm gonna get kicked off this screen.
You see, I told you I was going like me getting ejected from the game served a greater purpose. we do it for a great cause.
Out the window with this one. Oh my goodness, man. Got me good. After all that, I put all these emotions out, and this man want to get pulled off the screen. Anyway, we're going to be in Chicago. Roberta, the aforementioned, we're going to be at WNBA Live, and then also are doing an all-star live stream. We're going to give you just the sights and sound as we see them on Thursday, but then it's also going to be an AMA. You can ask us about Seattle. You can ask us about New York. And anything and everything in between. We will be censoring the comments, so, don't be too crazy. But we want to hear from you. What are the biggest questions? We don't get to talk about Sydney Taylor a lot on this podcast, and she's playing phenomenally well, and now is in the starting rotation for the Chicago Sky. Bree Jones back and has been significant in short spurts in just 2 games for Atlanta. What happens when she's at full tilt? And hopefully Angel Reese doesn't have to, miss any games with, what looked to be a lower body injury. So all of those are fair game. 2:30 Central Time, so that's 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. A live stream here. We'll have the link on Black Rosie Media, our YouTube channel, and you can follow us in all of these beautiful places that are right here at the bottom of the graphic. If you want to know more detail, look out for this graphic. That's where we're going to have our all-star updates. But for Brian, who I guess I'll keep on the screen, I'll keep him on the screen. Okay, good. Googly moogly. We trauma bonded over the Metropolitans, and then you pull the rug from right under me. My goodness. But Brian will be curating our newsletter for tomorrow and Friday, the Women's Basketball Roundup. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and do that, because again, if you want to stay in touch with us, you want to join our Slack community, that's the way to do it. You can subscribe as a free subscriber or at one of our premium tiers. Either way, as soon as you subscribe, you get access to our Slack community. But for Brian Florence and Erica L. Ayala, we're going to Ellie wave. I don't know if I think Al Page is already gone for the night. I know that Al Page and Aloysius love the wave. We're out of here, and we are going to get you ready for All-Star. Make sure you follow us for All-Star. And then on the other side, what will be of your New York Liberty? Only time will tell. All right. Peace out, everybody. We'll catch you on the next one.